Yes, yes, y'all, and you don't stop. Yeah, man. Ugh. Let me see. I don't understand why it won't let me um connect to Twitch, man. I don't. I mean, to connect to Kick. We can start here. Twitch is good. Twitch is fine, but for some reason, Kick is not kicking, son. Welcome, 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 everybody. I am your host, President Hotep Dubes. We are here live again for another episode of Hotep History Live. As you guys know from yesterday's stream, my voice is a little hoarse. You dig? Hopefully, I sound a little bit better today. Let's drop the link because I'm still an amateur at this and I still don't know everything that I'm doing right now. You dig? Let's see. Let's see what we got here. And we're gonna pick right up. We're gonna pick up right where we left off last night. Let's see. Yes, sir, we are live. Share it. Share it. Right. Another thing that I'm learning to do is not to be so anxious about this stuff. And when I say anxious, I mean feeling like I need to fill up dead air and all of that other stuff. So I spent a part of my day looking at like just live streamers and stuff like that, people who have like hundreds and thousands of people that be in the chat and all of that. And it'd be so much just random stuff happening. Like it don't be like this super concerted effort. People just go live. And so thinking that I need to have like everything figured out and all of that, I'm not doing that. We gonna keep doing what we doing. All right. Send the tweet out. Yeah, man. So, how's everybody doing? I know it's nobody in here just yet, but it's all good. Why did my headphones turn off? Hold on, let me get right. Turn my headphones back on. Yeah. There we go. So, last night we had a good time last night, and I told you I was coming back. I'm a little late just because I had a long day and I was supposed to be waiting for somebody. They didn't come through, but it's all good. I ain't tripping. Tell all your friends that I'm here. Tap in. You ever saw that cartoon Liberty Kid? The cartoon Liberty Kids? Nah, Scruggs. What's that? Tell me about Liberty Kids. I ain't hear about that one. What's Liberty Kids? Let's look it up. We ain't even gotta do that. We on the internet. We could just look it up. Yeah, man. And 9 times out of 10. Okay, hold on. Let's switch it over here. Okay. I hope that the noise that my chair be making don't be bothering y'all. But let's see. Liberty Kids cartoon. What's Liberty Kids? Liberty's Kids. Nah, I don't ever remember this. But what I will tell you, Scruggs, I came up on Hysteria. That's what I was up on. Hysteria. The cartoon. Loud Kiddington. Like this is what I came up watching. You know? There was another one too. There was another history cartoon. What was it? It was a robot, a little boy, and like let me see. I remember history cartoon. And of course, yeah, we do. We definitely need a kids version, a Hotep kids version. I'm not gonna lie to you. Giles B. Jackson. Yo, Vincent, what's going on? I ain't gonna lie, Vincent. I'm gonna let you know right now, bro. I don't feel like I did enough. I don't feel like I tweeted if I don't get those 2 talking emojis in my tweets, bro. Yeah, Animaniacs for sure. But there was a cartoon where they went back in time. They had a time machine. It's history cartoon. Let's say Robot Boy. Let me see. No, not Robot Boy. Damn. What was the name of it? Yes, Time Squad. That's what it was. Oh, so Liberty Kids. Okay, so that's something. Liberty Kids. Yeah, it came out in I was 12 in 2002, Scruggs. You my OG out here. So I was only 12 in 02. But Time Squad is what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about. Time Squad, I came up on that. You know what I mean? Magic School Bus was another one. Miss Frizzle. Did you see that? Did y'all see the new Magic School Bus? Let me show y'all the new Magic School Bus. I do not, as a 90s kid, I do not like it. Let me see. I do not like the design. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. Look at this. Look at this design, bro. What is this? Why haven't, I don't understand why they have ruined our cartoons like this. I really don't. You don't have to do this. You do not have to do this. Look what they did to my boy. Look what they did to Miss Frizzle, man. This is nasty. Man, look at it, man. Vincent, look at this, man. Why does it look like this? Why does Miss Frizzle look like this, bro? This is nasty work. Not happy about it. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you, Scruggs. I haven't seen look, speaking of remakes, I haven't seen, y'all can't see it. Let me scroll up a little bit, because there we go. This right here. I haven't seen any remake that I enjoy. I'm letting y'all know now. And, it's another thing. So, one thing that I noticed, like I told y'all last night, consistency is always key, right? Scruggs, I don't think you've missed a single live stream. You are now a part of my core fan base. You are a part of the core viewership. Now, you've already been subscribed to the Patreon. I want to say you was the first one. So, you've been around for a while. Wait, they did this to the Proud family too? So shout out, well, finish my point. Shout out to you, Scruggs. I appreciate your support, man, for sure. New Proud family? No way. They didn't. New Proud. Oh, come on. No, they didn't. They got a new Proud family, son? Don't tell me. Louder and Prouder? Okay. Oh, all right. So this doesn't visually look as bad as the other remakes that I've seen. They don't look as bad. Let's see if we can get a little trailer or something like that. Let's see what we got here. Let's see.
Penny Proud.
Oh no, no.
Anybody know where she is?
Sorry I'm late, Brother Kwame. I didn't hear my alarm. Again? Hey, we here!
Yo, what it do, Proud? I'm Noah. What's your name, girl?
I'm La Cienega Boulevardes. And I'm Penny Proud.
And I'm Michael Collins.
And I'm Dejanay.
Nah.
I was talking to her.
Oh, shit.
I want you to polish the silverware, clean the oven, and mop this floor. And when you finish, I want you to massage my feet.
You don't want to smell them wet feet.
You don't want to smell them dry either.
How are they still babies?
I apologize, Zoe.
For what?
My family, they get on my nerves.
That's what families do.
Oh, that's messed up.
Happiness isn't yelling and arguing and putting each other down.
All right.
It's about showing.
Now, so listen, I will say, out of all of the remakes or reboots, the visuals aren't as bad, but I have a sneaky suspicion that the content of the shows is not what we in this era would, as far as us. But then again, I am a 35-year-old man. Let's keep that in perspective. You know what I'm saying? I am a 35-year-old man. So me not liking it is like, it's all good. Okay, let's see what my man Scruggs says. Quality content, bro. I drop these gems on my children. Your Patreon videos are part of their history curriculum. I also use the Woodson curriculum that conservative favorite teacher put me on last year. Yo, listen, man. I want to let y'all know, like, Florida conservative favorite teacher, or Florida's, I forgot the the actual way that she's, says it in her title as far as her handle goes. I'm letting y'all know right now. I wanted her to be my co-host for the Hotep History podcast. Okay, I'm not gonna go too crazy about like the lore and all of the DMs and stuff like that, but I pitched it to her, and unfortunately, and I told y'all this yesterday, but unfortunately, she declined. And as a man, it's fine. Being rejected it's a part of being a man. Part of being a human, but as a man, especially at 35 years old, you should be able to take rejection and keep it going, right? But the reason she gave me the no was what kind of annoyed me. She didn't annoy me, but the reason did. And I just hate that that's the facts. I hate that that's the reality, because I really do think that her and I could have really done something major with the Hotep History podcast, us doing it together. I have been thinking about other people that's been in my mentions on my timeline who, throw me good hit, Black American history. But it's nobody that really is consistent with it. It's like, so they'll engage me because they know I'm a historian. They know I get into history and stuff like that, but that's not their main content. When it came to conservative favorite teacher, I call her Teach. When it comes to Teach, that's what she does. Like, that's a part of her curriculum. That's the part of her, like, livelihood. It's what she does for a living, just like I do. So it just, for me, it was just like perfect. Like just a dynamic period, man and woman, two black people being able to talk about Black American history at length and all of that other stuff. She has all of the skills to pay the bills. She's great and phenomenal at what she does. And, there's certain things that, we are going to have a little bit of back and forth about. We're not going to agree on everything, but we agree on a lot. So it's difficult for me to find a good co-host because, like we were talking about yesterday, so much of our history, as far as mainstream goes, has been surrounded by racism, oppression, all of these other things. And don't get me wrong, we will touch on those things. But I want you guys, and I'm pretty sure you guys have a solid understanding of that, but I want you guys to understand that the reason why you'll rarely hear me talk about the oppression and stuff like that is not to act like it didn't exist. I know a lot of people like to do that because there are people who kind of take it to the extreme. There was this lady, and it was so funny the way it happened, but there was this lady, I had said, what did I say? I had said something, and a dude had said something to me that was like, oh, that's what it was. It was the Montgomery bus boycotts. I had talked about Samuel B. Fuller, right? I was talking about Samuel B. Fuller, and we can go to my my Twitter page or whatnot. I was talking about Samuel B. Fuller telling Martin Luther King, yo, the bus company that we have boycotted is successfully bankrupt. It's bankrupt. We have the ability to buy the bus company, and at that point, we can sit anywhere we want on the bus. Martin Luther King was skeptical. He didn't think that the people would get behind it, because you got to think up until this point, and I'm not agreeing with Martin Luther King, but again, you don't have to agree with somebody to understand them. You dig? So Martin Luther King's mind at the time was, yo, we're pushing for integration. We've making great strides, obviously, because the bus is being bankrupt. So at that point, the bus company is at the, worst position or the best position, however you want to look at it, to acquiesce to our demands. We got them exactly where we want them. So they're both on the same type of time. Like, yo, Samuel B. Fuller's like, yo, they're bankrupt. We got them exactly where we want them. Let's buy it. And Martin Luther King is like, yo, they're bankrupt. Let's integrate. We got them exactly where we want them. So it was just a clash of ideals at that point. Now, of course, I'm going to be more akin to the conservative capitalist, Samuel B. Fuller, who, by the way, was a millionaire. And if you go, we're going to watch a lot of the other videos that we left off yesterday, and we're going to go over Samuel B. Fuller's video. But like, Samuel B. Fuller had like a second grade education or something like that, and like started out selling soap and all this other stuff. Like his come up was crazy. So to go from, rags to riches, so to speak, and being able to be like, yo, Martin, let's buy, the bus company, and Martin being like, no, that's where we at now. Now, the dude, he hops in my mentions because I said Martin Luther King didn't see the vision. So he hops in my mentions like, do you think black people were able to buy a bus company back then and all this other stuff? And I'm like, yo, imagine not knowing that there were black-owned bus companies in the United States since the 1920s. And I know that was just rudimentary. I know if I looked, it probably was even some before that. But, it is what it is. So this was the tweet, right? So dude says, so at a time when black folks had to sit in the back of the bus, he meant bus, I guess it auto-corrected to business. Present day thinking is that somehow, this is what really pissed me off. When he said somehow, like this shit was about to just be magic. So he says, somehow black folks at the time would have been able to buy the bus line. And so, of course, me as the historian that I am, I tell him, can we just go back? Yeah. I tell him, imagine not knowing there were black-owned bus companies since the 1920s that you smugly asked me this question. Questions like this is how I know y'all don't know your history. Hashtag read more. And I'm about to fly that flag. I'm about to fly the read more hashtag flag. Anytime that you got somebody like this in your mentions, don't even argue with them. If you're going to respond to them, hit them with some facts and tell them to read more, period. Right? So I feel like I did a good job. This is the Safe Bus Company. This was, I want to say, founded in North Carolina. I could be wrong, but this is the Safe Bus Company. They had a black woman as their president. And, from the 1920s all the way into, obviously, the 1950s, 60s, and whatnot, right? So I thought I did a good job in, responding, shutting him down, right? So, hold on, let me go back. So, y'all probably saw the glimpse of it. So, this lady responds to him saying this shit. She says this: how do you not know history? Black people were doing much better than they are now before. So much better. Only 2% of black people were slaves. Republicans fought to free them. Democrats refused. I don't even know what Democrats refuse means in this context. Then she says, then switch them to government welfare and keep as slaves to the state. Learn real history. So I looked. Oh God, I can't even show y'all. I really don't like Twitter on desktop. It's certain things that I do like, and there's a lot of stuff that I don't. But I responded to her, and basically was just like, yo, this is the one of the two ways that Black American history is told. Period. Either we were perpetual victims, or there were only 2% of black people were slaves. I don't even know where she got that stat from. I genuinely don't know. At the height of slavery, there were 4.5 million black people in the country. 4 million of them were slaves and 500,000 of them were free. I don't know where you get 2% from that. I really have no idea where you get 2% of the black population only being slaves. I truly don't. But this is what I'm saying. So you either have, like, this was the perfect microcosm of why I need to continue to teach history. Shout out to my boy Jeff Charles. Okay, so I talked about Samuel B. Fuller. He says, I'm convinced black capitalism would have benefited black people far more than government mandated integration. Facts. Period. Facts. In fact, this would have brought about a better and more authentic integration than what the state produced. Now, this is also true, and we're going to get into that as well. And that's another thing about not being so worried about what I'm gonna talk about tonight or whatever. Like, I just go. I talk like this for a living, pretty much, right? So this is the problem. You got this guy and you got this woman. These people are the microcosms of how Black American history is taught. This is what they come away with, right? Sorry about the taco meat. But you either walking away from listening to your history thinking that somehow blacks at the time would have been able to buy a bus line, or saying stupid shit like only 2% of black people were slaves. That's it. And this is what Carter G. Woodson was talking about when it came to the miseducation of the Negro. And this is what Doe Dudes be talking about when it comes to you motherfuckers needing to read more. Period. Y'all don't read. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of y'all not reading. Real shit. It is annoying. It is annoying that y'all don't read, because it's like, yo, listen, Still Sharp and Still. Rest in peace, Ryan Raw. That's my brother. We made an album called Still Sharp and Still, going back and forth on rap, on records and all of that. Rest in peace to my boy, my brother. But Still Sharp and Still. And when it comes down to being able to bounce ideas off, no different from y'all. When I'm reading the chat, you feel me? I'm able to bounce ideas off. We were just chilling. We was talking about cartoons at first. Scruggs was telling me about Little Bitty's Kids, and then we got into the Magic School Bus. Like, we're able to bounce ideas off, right? The same way, because my man Jeff, he reads. I know he reads. You feel me? I know he reads. So when it comes down to these types of conversations, I appreciate it. Because he says, yo, I'm convinced black capitalism would have benefited black people far more than government mandated integration. And we're going to get into that because Booker T. Washington talked about this all of the time. And I told y'all, if y'all was in the spaces, I am going to not only, like, I know saying that I'm going to put Booker T on trial sounds like I'm going to be the prosecutor, but I'm not. I'm going to be the lawyer. I'm going to be his defense lawyer, because I'm sick and tired of contemporary black Americans shitting on Booker T. Washington, despite all of the work that he's done. But when your contemporaries are not reading as much as you, yeah, you can be like, oh, I'm heads and shoulders above the rest and all that other stuff. Stephen Story, my brother, another one of my brothers, he's always said that. He was like, yo, your competition is lazy, illiterate, unfit, and mentally and physically. So all you have to do is just show up every day, be consistent, work at it every day, and you will smoke your competition. And that's true for the most part. It's true. Most people are complacent. I talk about all the time when it comes to financial literacy. Over the overwhelming majority of American citizens don't even have $1,000 saved up for an emergency, let alone, a vacation or whatever. It's just that they use debt and all types of other just, very stupid things, financial things, to be able to, buy the non-essential things that they have. It's not that they don't have jobs. It's not that they don't have the ability to save $1,000 for emergencies. It's that they choose not to. Just like these people have the ability to read, but they choose not to. And to illustrate my point, and I promise y'all, I'm doing this also to get my mind sharp. Y'all in the chat, I'm about to read the chat in a minute. Sam, I see you. Thank you for coming back in to the live. But Memphis Bleak, a rapper that I respect, been a fan of. Listen to what he had to say.
Hey. But these niggas took me on a jail tour, Bleak. I swear to God.
Nigga said they took me on the jail tour.
Nigga, I seen that fucking jail. Yo. Nigga, these niggas had me anywhere.
That's crazy.
But through that process, learn from.
Yes.
I became a reader while I was in prison. I read some books and shit before prison, but I understood when I went to prison. I learned and understood the importance of reading. Anything.
I'm not a reader. I ain't gonna cap.
But I mean, you should.
I watch your movie. I'm bad at the reading. I read contracts, read shit that's important.
You ain't
Just
gotta
to
read.
sit there
You
and grab a book.
ain't gotta
It's
read.
just like,
they got fucking audio books.
No, I know. I wanna-
podcasts. You can listen to shit that you're interested in.
I'm ready to get on that.
But knowledge is what I'm saying is power.
And all the time, bro. The more you know, the more you grow. That's a fact.
The knowledge.
I mean, like. And me, I learned, I taught myself, I say more from just reading. I like to put boots on the ground, like.
So I get what Memphis saying. Memphis a visual learner. Memphis I learned by doing. There's an actual book literally called Learn by Doing that Hampton Institute, it wasn't Hampton University at the time, but Hampton Institute, they created a book about this, and we can look it up in a second. But I don't know if y'all heard it, but Ja Rule said reading isn't for everybody. And I said in the tweet that this nigga Ja Rule says reading isn't for everybody like it's sushi or some shit. Like, what do you mean reading isn't for everybody? And even the way he framed it, when I was locked up, I became a reader. Now, I told y'all, I was a terrible student. I hated school, but I am not going to say and act like I didn't read. I read books all of the time. My OG Hev, man, shout out to him. I talk about him all of the time, just like he was super instrumental and integral to my upbringing and my adolescence and stuff like that. I met him when I was like 13 years old, and I used to cut school to work at his store. I talk about this story all of the time. Like, I was cutting school to go to work. I would wait for my mom to, drive to work and all of that other stuff. And I would clock in at work myself. I used to work from 9 to 10. I used to work 13-hour days at 13 years old. And I forced him to give me a job because, of course, he was like, yo, little nigga, go to school. But I'm like, yo, listen, you either going to hire me or I'm going to be outside doing whatever I want. So you might as well have me at least under your tutelage and under your supervision so you know that I'm not doing nothing crazy in the street. So I essentially forced him to give me a job because I would just walk into the store and just start folding T-shirts. That was how I tried to show my worth. And it's so funny because that story, I see different versions of that story when I read these narratives from the ancestors, when I read these books from the ancestors and stuff like that. And he would have me read different books. He had me read the autobiography of Malcolm X. He had me read Up From Slavery. He had me read the Willie Lynch letter. He had me read a bunch of books. Yeah, Vincent, man, I ain't gonna lie, man. I was never really an academic like that. And it's so funny because to this day, I'm not really fond of academics. I don't really like their, they are intelligent. I'm not an anti-intellectual, but I am an anti-propagandist. And a lot of them, that's the reason why it's hard for me to find somebody to bounce ideas off of, because when we start talking about 1830s, 1840s, slavery still going on. Chattel slavery is still going on. You feel me? And a lot of the academics, they focused on, I told y'all, the way that mainstream Black American history is told by these academics is to center white people, is to center the racism, the oppression, and all of the brutality that our ancestors went through. So we don't get to talk about all of the amazing things that our ancestors did. You feel me? And the only times that the academics really even talk about these achievements is if it's in spite of white racism or in spite of white oppression. And that's also a bad, way to view things, because we're not excellent in spite of things. Did we push through? Did we have perseverance? Did we have resilience? Did we have courage, bravery, strength, and all these other things? Absolutely. But to think that the main catalyst for our greatness and our achievements is the oppression or the racism that we went through is selling our ancestors so short. And I personally take offense to it. It's an insult. It's an insult to the ancestors to reduce them to reactionary people. Like, they take all of the proactivity away from our ancestors, and I hate that. So this is what I mean. So when it comes down to like academia, it never really suited me. And y'all know I don't come across as a dummy or anything like that. You know, there are certain things that I 100%, I will admit that I did miss that was necessary because I didn't go to school, but I made up for it in other areas to where it didn't slow me down when it's time to, build up and be, self-developing. But yeah, I had a full-time job at 13. I laugh to myself about this because I've said it a million times. And, those who know me, they know what I'm going to say next is that I had this job at 13. And by the time that I was 15, I had the key to the store. And if my friend, like my close friends and stuff like that was in here, they would be laughing at me because that's something that I say. Like, I tell my kids that all of the time. Like, it's just one of those dad stories. Y'all are fathers, right? So like when it comes down to telling your kids the same story over and over again, they hear it all the time. They can, say it back to you verbatim. They already can finish your sentence and all of that other stuff. That's that for me. I had a key to the store since I, at 15 years old and all this other stuff. So they make fun of me. And that's the reason why, I can't say that, I didn't like school, but I still was a reader. Ja Rule went to jail when I was a teenager. And these men are in their 40s, if not 50s. And he said he became a reader when he was in jail. And I said, Black America went off the rails after 1965. It did. Now, there were certain things that did, that were positive or whatever. But for the most part, man, like, I can't really get it. I can't sink my teeth into it, to be totally honest. I have from 1526 to 1965, or I'll even push it to 1970 because you'll have some things in the 60s that I'll talk about, but I stopped there. I don't talk about the 80s. I don't talk about the 90s and stuff like that because at that point, now we already are voting, 70, 80, 90% Democrat. Government intervention is at an all-time high. This is what, Jeff Charles was saying as far as like government mandated integration and stuff. Like, so much went off the rails after 1965 that it's hard for me as a historian to really sink my teeth into it because there's too much. I guess the only way I could really describe it is like pollution. It's like it's been diluted, rather. Not pollution, but dilution. It's been diluted to the point to where now we just see what it's just a earlier that's the precursor of what we're seeing today. Like I said, with Black America, blindly voting for Democrat like that, and all of these other things that obviously plague our communities. So I pretty much stopped my scholarship at the 1970s. People pick it up after that and talk about that time, but that's not really what I'm interested in. And not to mention, after I was yelling at somebody on Spaces the other day about them reducing our history to the 40s, 50s, and 60s, like in the 70s. Like, that's really what they only care about when it comes to Black American history overall. You got slavery, Jim Crow, slavery, black codes, Jim Crow, civil rights movement, Barack Obama. That's pretty much how Black American history is taught. And I hate that. You've reduced the ancestors to a bunch of perpetual victims that just reacted to white racism, either positively or negatively. That's it. And I hate that. I really do. So read more. That's the whole point of that. Y'all let me know what my point was that I was trying to land on, because we gonna go back to Samuel B. Fuller if not. So yeah, and that's, look, like, even in this, only 18% of Black fourth graders score proficient or above in reading. The figure for white fourth graders, which I don't care about, was 45%, which is still bad. Less than half. That's crazy. For eighth graders, the percentages were 15 and 42. So as they're getting older, they're reading less, like less proficiently, which is even worse. So when it comes to this, you know, that's why I have a big problem with it. And then here's President Hotep Dubes, and I have, like I showed y'all yesterday, close to 300 books, and one of them is just about managing and raising poultry, chickens, and different, you know, birds of fowl, birds, or whatever, how you ever name it. But I always love reading. You know what I'm saying? Now, I will say, I don't want to act like Memphis Bleak didn't say that he does. Like, his whole thing is about reading books that actually interest him. So I'll give him that. But the fact that you say that, but also say that you don't like reading, means that you don't believe that there are enough books out there that would be interesting to you that you can apply to your real life. And I promise you, Up From Slavery, you can apply to your real life and all of that. But chat, I need y'all to keep me on point, because y'all know my memory is not that great. What were we talking about before that? Because I know y'all probably like, damn, we just listening to you, bro. We don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. See, the chat coming a little bit faster. Oh, that's what we saw. I had to go back to Sam's comment. What did Sam say? What did Sammy say? Hold on. Sammy says, I saw someone suggest that post the Target boycott, we should have collectively bought up shares to influence the board of directors like SB Fuller, ensuring no repeat of this via ownership. Now, listen, if we had a mass investing of Target, so we can, you know, be on the, you know, be part of the shareholders and, you know, potentially get on the board, I could see that. It's just that when we're talking about, you know, multinational, yeah, and we're gonna get to that too. Matter of fact, I got a book for you, Scruggs, when it comes to homeschooling. But yeah, I have Target shares. I have shares in Target as a part of one of the ETFs that I invest in. So definitely, I'm always for investing. I don't think Target is going anywhere. I don't think the boycott is really going to do much, just because of how large their customer base is. Like, when you compare it to the Montgomery bus, right? Most of the passengers were black. That's why, again, if we go back to the Philip A. Payton story, it's like, it's stupid. Like, this neighborhood is a bunch of black people. You're going to segregate black people and segregate from black people inside black neighborhoods. It doesn't make any sense, because if I'm a white company, I'm just going to take your black customers. Or if I'm a black company, I'm just going to take your black customers. So when it came down to the Montgomery bus company, most of the passengers were black. So when the black passengers are boycotting you, you are absolutely going to go to bankrupt. The majority of Target's customer base is not black Americans. Now, don't get me wrong, black people shop at Target, obviously. I'm pretty sure they make up couple $100 million, maybe $1 billion worth of some of the revenue, but it's not enough. Especially, you got to think about it, like the Montgomery bus company was in Montgomery. That's it. It was only in Montgomery. This bus boycott was localized. It was one private business or public business, I guess, because it's, you know, it's a bus company. But either way, it was localized. So you have a higher opportunity or better opportunity to bring them to their knees and, you know, do what you want them, make them do what you want them to do. And it's kind of akin to politics, right? Going to the senator or going to the councilman will be easier than going to the senator who's in Washington, right? The councilman is in your neighborhood. The alderman is in your neighborhood. The mayor, supposedly, is in your neighborhood. The governor is even better than the senator or the representative because they are in Washington, D.C. So when we're talking about Target is not only the United States, but they also have locations outside of the United States. So when you start to think about the concerted effort that all of Black America would have to make in order for this boycott to work, that's the thing. So I know people are seeing different articles where they're saying like the CEO took a pay cut and their revenue may be down or something like that. But it's like, again, when you're talking about a publicly traded company on the stock market, it's not the same thing as a bus company that's privately owned. You dig what I'm saying? So listen, if you feel the need to boycott Target, fine. I tell people all the time, if that's your prerogative. There are businesses that nobody even knows about like that locally that has chains or whatever it is that I just will never go to just because of the experience that I had. So I'm not tripping on the fact that you're boycotting. I'm more so wanting you to understand that there are bigger fish to fry. Only 15% of our babies can read at grade level. And it's not middle school and high school that we're talking about. We're talking about elementary school. So we're talking about cat, bat, rat, and shit like that. We're talking about words that are extremely simple to understand, and our babies can't read. So I think that if we're going to take mass action on something, it would be the math and reading literacy of our babies, because these numbers are abysmal. Like, you got to understand the literacy rate of former slaves was better than this. Real shit. I'm not exaggerating. 75% of former slaves could not read as soon as the slavery was over. By 1908, most black people could read. You dig what I'm saying? So when we start to see these types of regressions in our quote unquote progress or whatever in the 21st century, that's what brings me pause. Not the fact that this multinational, multi-billion-dollar conglomerate is not offering you DEI programs. That's not as important. You dig what I'm saying? It's not as important at all. So that's my whole thing on the Target situation. So Samuel B. Fuller, there were men like him who, matter of fact, that's what we were going to get to, right? We're going to get to the videos. So when it came to men like him, I want y'all to check out his story. So we're going to tap into Samuel B. Fuller, and I'm going to let y'all know right now, get ready, because we're going to be talking about some controversial stuff. We're going to be talking about black slave owners today. We're going to be talking about black slave owners tonight. And Scruggs, like I said, I got this book. And before I even tell you about it, Scruggs, let me know, are you a believer? Are you a Christian man? Let me know, Scruggs. Are you a Christian man? Because if so, I think you're going to really enjoy this book. You dig? And also, if you guys have questions, please don't be a stranger in the chat. Okay? This is something that I've been dealing with. I understand that I have a real declaratory way of speaking. I understand that I have a real, matter-of-fact way of speaking. And what it does is it pretty much allows people to just hear me speak. It's like a college professor giving a lecture. And I get that, but I want you guys to engage. You guys are good. You know what I'm saying? Scruggs, Vincent, Sammy, y'all be typing away. But all of the other people that's in here, is 15 of y'all in here. And I'm telling you, one day it's going to be hundreds of people in here. Shout out to HJ. Shout out to Uncle Hotep. Shout out to Cannon Hotep. Shout out to all of my guys that go live. My man Maj Teray. Y'all be having hundreds of people in there giving wisdom super chats and all of that. I'm getting to that level, but we gotta build up. And y'all making me look bad, man. It'd be 20 of y'all in here, 15 of y'all in here, and only 5 people talking to me, man. Let's have a conversation. But I get that a lot of the stuff that I'm saying, 1, a lot of people don't know about. 2, people just like to hear me speak about it, and I understand that. But man, listen, your president Voice is a little hoarse. You feel me? And I would like to be able to have conversations if you got any questions. And that was another thing. We're going to do AMAs too. Black American History AMAs, and we can fact check, we can research together. I want this to be an experience. So we're going to tap into Samuel B. Fuller, but we also get into these other videos. We didn't get into Sarah Rector last night. I think this man's name is Downing. He was the Oyster King. We will get into that too. We got into James Fortin yesterday. So let's tap into SB Samuel B. Fuller.
What's shaking, everybody? President Hotep Dubes here, and today we're going to be talking about Samuel B. Fuller. Born in 1905 in Washington Parish, Louisiana, Sam must have been born with the entrepreneurial spirit inside of him because the boy was going door to door since the tender age of 9. His family were sharecroppers in Memphis, and after his father left, his mother unfortunately passed away, leaving him to take care of his 6 younger siblings all on his own. Sam hitchhiked to Chicago for better opportunities, starting at a coal yard, but he quit because he preferred freedom over security.
So, like I said, the entrepreneurial spirit. You know what I'm saying? The entrepreneurial spirit was, listen, y'all be talking about me, right? Dropping out of school essentially, at 13 or whatever, and then pursuing business and all of that. But he was a little boy going door to door selling stuff at 9, 10 years old, selling soap and all of that. Memphis, if this Memphis, this is Isha. This is Memphis. What up? What up, Memphis? If that's you. If it's not, still what up? Welcome to the chat. But yeah, so entrepreneur, you know what I'm saying, off the rip.
He went into insurance sales, but then quit that to sell soap when he compared the salaries of the presidents of the MetLife Company and the Lever Brothers Company.
So the logic for him was, I see how much the CEOs of these insurance companies make, but I also see how much these soap companies make. So I'm going to go with soap. Now, if y'all have known me for a while, followed me for a while, you know that I owned Lola and Doe, the soap company. So this resonated with me off the rip.
He got a $25 loan and bought soap cakes that he sold door to door for 10 cents each. This hustling mofo turned that into $1,000 in no time.
Yo, listen. All right, Memphis. No, it's all good. Welcome. So, y'all remember when I was telling y'all about trading options, right? When it came to Jeremiah G. Hamilton and all of that, and how you are essentially buying money. That's what I do for a living. I buy money. So I buy $100 for $20. What he was doing is the same thing. So could you imagine turning a $25 loan into $1,000? Just G'ing up. Just keep flipping it, being diligent, being disciplined to not spend any of your profit. You take a $25 loan and you turn it into $1,000. Like this is the type of ingenuity, this is the type of work ethic that we're talking about. That a $25 loan was able to turn into $1,000 in a very short time because he didn't squander the money away.
And then invested that money to start his own company, Fuller Products.
Now look, we going from being sharecroppers, and I want to say Memphis. No, it was Wichita, Louisiana, Wichita Parish, Louisiana. Well, anyway, I think he moved to Memphis though. Anyway, he went from going door to door selling soap from a $25 loan to this. Like, this is the pedigree that we're talking about. This is the pedigree. You went from little education as a little boy, becoming an entrepreneur as a little boy, starting with $25, turning that into $1,000, and then turning that $1,000 into this. Incredible, yo. Incredible. But nobody talks about SB Fuller in 2025. Nobody talks about SB Fuller in the 21st century at all. I've never heard of this man. I've never heard of him up until, I want to say last year, 2 years ago. Because I've been saying that S.B. Fuller Martin Luther King story for a while now. So I want to say it was probably like 2 or 3 years. But yeah, man, like this is incredible, man. Like this stuff, I know that I pause in my videos a lot and all of that to be able to break down what I'm thinking in real time. But y'all have to understand that this is the epitome of what motivation is, fam. This is the epitome of what inspiration is. Everybody talks about shit like, representation matters and all of that shit when it comes to like movies and TV shows and fucking commercials and award shows or whatever the fuck. But like, when it comes down to you growing up in an area and the richest man in your area is black, the politicians are black, the police are black, all of the adults are doing what they're supposed to be doing are black. They look just like you. That is way more important than seeing a black character in a Disney movie. It's way more important because you can build your own film studio if you have black. So what I'm saying to you is, and I'm not disparaging anybody, just using this as an analogy. Halle Bailey as Ariel is less important than Ryan Coogler, the director. Hell, I'll even say Tyler Perry, even though I don't really enjoy his movies like that. I know the latest one is super popular right now and it's polarizing or whatever. But even in that, the fact that he owns Tyler Perry Studios and he can rent that out and lease it out to people to be able to make their own films. You dig what I'm saying? So for me, the ownership, the control is what's more important than being hired. Because once you get the ownership and control down pat, you can hire yourself. You have essentially hired yourself and you can hire whoever you want. So when we're looking at a movie like Sinners, where, I want to say 85 to 95% of the cast is black. So you have the representation matters on the casting side, but Ryan Coogler created, and his wife, by the way, created this movie. So while, yes, the cast being black is important, the fact that Ryan Coogler and his wife is behind this movie and created this movie and produced this movie is what's important when we're talking about representation mattering. You dig what I'm saying? So that's the reason why I get so inspired by these people. These people are not super extraordinary people. They come from the same backgrounds as everybody else. They come from the same backgrounds as everybody else. They just did what they said they were going to do. My favorite rapper is Currency, right? Currency the Hospital. He's out of New Orleans. My literal favorite rapper, number one on all of my lists, period, right? And he has a song called Stolen, and first of all, he has endless songs. He has the largest catalog in hip hop that I know of. Like, I mean that sincerely. Like, I don't know of another rapper who has a larger catalog than Currency the Hospital. That's why he's my favorite outside of just the content of his music. All of his music is motivational music. All of his music. Even if he's talking about stunting and all that other stuff, when it comes down to motivating you or inspiring you, Spitter is the first one to tell you that, you can do this too. You can live exactly how you want to live out here. So he has a song called Stolen. And in the song, he's talking about, he says, erase the hate and let the sun shine through. Apply yourself, fool. You can live out your dreams too. Imagination can create the truth. Every brick that built my mansion will provide the proof. What he's saying there is like, erase all of that shit all that negative shit in your mind, bro. You can do this shit. Let the sun shine through. Apply yourself, fool. You can live out your dreams too. Imagination can create the truth, right? Motivating you like, you can do this too. And to show you proof of concept, every brick that built my mansion will provide the proof. So it's the same thing. Like, that's the reason why entrepreneurs like Samuel B. Fuller speak to me more than anybody else. So when it comes down to Samuel B. Fuller, or when it comes down to Booker T. Washington, or Junius G. Groves, or, George Downing, I think is his name, and we'll get to him too, Annie Turnbull Malone, and all these other people that I'm more than sure that y'all have never heard of, this man was able to create this. But we know about Sears and Roebuck. We know about Macy's. We know about Woolworth. Y'all know more about Woolworth and Sears and Roebuck than you know Fuller Products Company. So let's finish the video.
By 1939, he grew his business from a small office in Chicago to a small factory in Chicago. He organized the Chicago Chamber of Commerce, and by 1947, he secretly bought out the company he originally bought soap from to avoid being boycotted by racist whites.
Dog, what? Look at the strategy. Now, and this is the through line. I'm trying to tell y'all, it's almost like these people are being like reincarnated. Because Junius G. Groves did the same thing. J.J. Benson and his son William Benson did the same thing. Now I got to go off on a tangent. Y'all in the chat, y'all need to keep me focused. You know what I'm saying? But we talking about Samuel B. Fuller, right? So Samuel B. Fuller was getting fronted by a white company to get his soap. That was where he was. That was who his connect was. Sam stacked his bread, built his business to the point that he can buy the entire company out. So now nobody, and he didn't let nobody know, because you got people like this who wouldn't even think to buy from a black man. So I'm going to keep the name of the company. I'm not going to change the name of the company. It's just going to be secretly black owned. And these racist white people are going to be putting money in my pocket. And then I'm going to use that money to enrich my community. Now, here's another story. I just posted about this not too long ago. So let's go back to my page, or at least my personal page and the Hotep Histories page. Something that I just found out, and this is new. This is new. I actually just found out about this. Just found out. So we go to media. Where is it? Where is it? Where we at? Let's go here. Where is it? Do I really tweet that much? Jeez Louise. No, it wasn't all the way this far back. It wasn't this far back. I know it wasn't. But where is it? Black border. Damn, did I really tweet that much? Oh, nah. No way. No way. No. Okay. Let's get right. Here's just how we gonna do this. Because I don't think that too many people talked about this. So it's called Cowaliga. Cowaliga. There we go. Right here. Top result, because who the hell is talking about Cowaliga, Alabama, other than Hotep Dubes? So I found out about this town randomly. I'm telling y'all, I'll be just strolling through the archives. I really wish that the archives was a physical place. I'm pretty sure that they have some type of physical manifestation of it in like Washington D.C. or something. And I definitely want to get, why is the internet acting like this? But I definitely want to go and just like literally walk through the archives, bro, and really hopefully be able to touch these books and like really, get that real feeling. This is insane. My internet is never this slow. Even when I'm not streaming. Like before I got on stream, my internet wasn't this slow. I don't understand. But anyway, we could just do it right here. Cowaliga, Alabama, founded in 1850. So again, while slavery was going on, by J.J. Benson. Now, J.J. Benson, I think his pops was white. But anyway, he purchased the land of his former plantation and turned it into a thriving community. So we can go to the Wikipedia. Of it, and it breaks down exactly how much of the land was bought gradually, right? So Cowaliga, Alabama, and yeah, I know how Gary, Indiana was I want to say what company founded Gary, Indiana? It was supposed to be just like the entire city was just pretty much a place for the employees to live for this particular company. Who was the owner of that factory? And while y'all looking up that answer, I'm gonna go here. So the purpose of the formation of the community was the creation of economic self-sufficiency for local African Americans, which was notable particularly in the late 19th century and early 20th century. You know, that's my era right there. John Jackson Benson, J.J. Benson, had earned U.S. $100 from working in the coal mines and purchased a portion of the land from the former plantation and worked that land. By 1890, he owned 160 acres of land, and by 1898, had acquired 3,000 acres. So in 8 years, he went from 160 acres of land to over to 3,000. 8 years. On this land, he built a large farmhouse, a sawmill, a cotton gin, a grist mill, and a brickyard. Around 40 black and white families lived together on Benson's land. They grew cotton, sugar cane, and different types of wood for lumber, pine, oak, and hickory. John Jackson Benson used his wealth offering loans to both black and white people. Then his son, William, right here, he told his son to build the school. Right? And he gave his son 10 acres in order to build a private school for the black community. The goal in the school creation was for rural students to eventually find industrial work with their new experience, or alternatively, create an educational foundation for these students in order to continue their education at other institutions afterwards. The Cowaliga Academy and Industrial Institute, or the Cowaliga Industrial School, was established in roughly 1895. The first building cornerstone was laid in August 1896, and it was incorporated in 1899. Yes, the U.S. Steel Corporation. Thank you, Scruggs. That was for Gary, Indiana. So I bring this up to say that this is exactly what I am talking about. They could have been bitter about their enslavement, but Benson bought the plantation. He bought the plantation and then told his son, hey, yo, build a school. Here's 10 acres. Build a school on it. And Junius. Yep, Junius G. Groves. You know, I was going to bring him back up. This is my boy. He did the same thing. Now, the way Junius worked out was he got fronted land. He got fronted acreage. Excuse me. And we can actually go. Matter of fact, we're not even going to do Wikipedia for this one. Negro in business, PDF. He was, excuse me, y'all, sorry. He was fronted land by his landlord, and he was able to grow it. And because he was so proficient at growing potatoes and at growing crops, because he had watermelon, white potatoes, and red potatoes, right? So boo, boo, boo. Boo, 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 boo. Junius. We can go right to the dude. What? Come on now. We know Junius is in here. I know for a fact that Junius is in here. I've read this entire book twice at this point. But anyway, he was able to go from, I want to say he got 9 acres of land. He started with 9 acres, and he ended up with thousands of acres of land all across I want to say Kansas or what, the state that he was in. But yeah, yo, like that's the whole thing. So that's the same thing that Samuel B. Fuller did. And that's what I mean about like, yo, I feel like these people like are being like reincarnated or something, son. Like they keep doing like these moves are so consistent. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you know I wasn't lying. You know I wasn't lying. I ain't gotta lie on the ancestors at all. People be doing that to me in the mentions too. They be trying to make it seem like I be lying on the ancestors. Like, why do I have to lie on the ancestors? They did amazing things on their own. I did not have to lie on them. I do not have to lie on them. And I won't ever lie on them. Everything that I told you that the ancestors did, they did. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm infallible. I am going to make mistakes. But to think that I would intentionally lie on the ancestors is insane, bro. Like, who the hell would do that? They did too many great things to be, lied upon. Let's see. Where's his chapter? I thought it said page 20. I'm not going to keep going crazy, but if y'all paying attention, yo, this is kind of how I do my research, to be totally honest. If y'all seeing the keywords that I'm using, if y'all peeping, hope y'all paying attention to how I do this. I'm not going to give all of the game away, I still got to have some type of, something. There's the boy. There's the man right there. There you go. There you go. So we getting close to his story. We here? Yep, there we go. So let's see. How much land did he start with? Y'all got to read this story. Yeah, it was in Kansas. Now let's see. He was working. I remember his story is dope. I'm just skimming through it because I want to see what acreage he started with. And I want y'all to be remembering this stuff, man. Like these is real history lessons. Like Scruggs said, he teaches this to his children. And with that in mind, I am going to do my best to watch my language, man. I know I get real animated, and I know that I get the cussing and stuff like that. But I know the babies are watching this stuff. I know the families are watching this stuff. So I am going to watch my language. Now, I ain't going to sit here and say it's about to be 100% PG-13 around here. I got to get my shit off. But I am going to keep that in mind. So here we go. This is where it was. The conditions of the contract were that the employer should furnish 9 acres of land, a team, seed and tools, and Grove should plant, cultivate, and harvest the crop for 1/3 of what was made. This offer was gladly accepted, and Mr. Groves planted 3 acres in white potatoes, 3 in sweet potatoes, and 3 in watermelon, right? So that was the first deal. Same shit, same landlord, right? And then by the end of this, because like it's the same thing that Samuel B. Fuller did. They didn't waste any of their profit. He could have bought new shoes. He could have bought, new clothes. He could have bought his wife jewelry. He could have did all of that with the profit, but instead they just kept reinvesting in the company. And if you read this chapter in the book, you'll see what he did with his money. We're not going to go there just yet, but the success of the first year's work had convinced the landlord that he would be taking no risk in renting Groves and his wife a larger acreage. So they're holding. The second year was increased to 20 acres. So he started with 9, got more than double to 20 acres, right? The third year, they rented 66 acres of good farmland near the town of Edwardsville, Kansas. Okay? So you see more, like, it just keeps compounding on itself, buying more and more land. And this is what I be talking about. I don't know how many of y'all learned about Junius G. Groves, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't a lot of y'all. And to illustrate my point, a black man wrote this book. This is Booker T. Washington's book. The name of this book, Memphis, is The Negro in Business. Come on now, look at your surroundings, brother. Come on, it's right here. The title's right here. Negro in Business. See, if I was y'all, so let me let y'all know how I do my research, okay? Let's just say this wasn't there, right? Let's just say, all you saw was this. I'm using my finger instead of the pointer. You didn't see the title, right? What I would do, let's get this out of here. What I would do, I would look for context clues. I would look for context clues and being able to research this stuff, right? So anyway, this book is called The Negro in Business by Booker T. Washington. Now, I'm going to keep it tall with you. If I was really thirsty for the knowledge, I'm screenshotting this, and then I'm going to use my phone to copy and paste this link, and I'm putting it in my Safari app, and I'm going to immediately download it. Now, it's all good, Myth. It's all good. I'm here for you. I'm trust me, I understand. Don't even trip. I'm not even trying to play you, bro. I'm just saying, as far as like, I'm giving y'all some game on how I research stuff. You dig? I know you in a different position right now, Pauls, but when I be seeing things on the timeline that interest me, this is what I do. This is exactly what I do. I don't ask too many questions. I try to do as much on my own. So I'm not disparaging you. You know, we live streaming right now, so it's all good. I want y'all to ask as many questions as possible, to be totally honest with y'all. To be totally told with y'all, I want y'all to. But back to what I was saying. So what we were at, 66 acres. By the end, let's just say, because he got, like I said, y'all got to look at this story and really delve into his wealth building or whatever. Because he kept, again, reinvesting your profits, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what I be talking about. People be talking about, well, you know, these books don't have any relevance and all this other stuff. One of the main things that I've seen with all of these successful entrepreneurs and industrious people is that they did not squander away their profits. Now, don't get me wrong. I've read of drunks and people who was more worried about gambling and having a good time and dancing and all of that other shit during this era. And this is the reason why it bugs me out when people try to take all of this autonomy away. If you have enough autonomy and agency to become an alcoholic, bro, you have enough autonomy and agency to rent out some land and reinvest your profits. But y'all, you know, these people, not y'all, but these people try to take away the agency and the autonomy of people. Yes, your ancestors were free to become alcoholics. Why are you mad about that? Didn't y'all see Sinners? Y'all saw Delta Slim, him and his mans. Both on a chain gang. Both probably were newly freed slaves when they were born or born into slavery. Both came from the same circumstances. Delta Slim's mans went on to buy a building and all this other stuff. And then Sam asked him, like, yo, what you do with your money? Delta Slim was like, pointing to his liquor bottle, I drank it. He chose to do that. Just like Junius G. Groves chose to keep reinvesting his profits. But the minute a lot of people get their profits, now here come the new shoes. Here comes the jewelry. Here comes the new clothes. Here comes all of this other stuff that you did not need just a month ago. You did not need those new shoes. You was fine with the shoes you had. You was fine with the hat you had. You was cool eating the food that you was eating. But now all of a sudden, we door dashing every day. Now, all of a sudden, you got more vices in the crib. Come on, man. We've seen it every time. Most Americans, when they make more money, their expenses go up for no reason. You went from surviving off of $20 a day, but now you make $200 a day, and now all of a sudden, these expenses is going up. Now you ordering out. Now you frivolously spending bread just because you making more. And you could have stayed within or below your means, stack your bread, and get to a point to where you can actually afford it. That's what Junius did. And Junius was doing this in the late 19th century, early 20th century. So what's your excuse? If he had the discipline to do this in the late 19th century, dodging lynchings and all that other stuff, that all the horror stories that y'all like to put onto the ancestors, you know, body like this, if he had the ability, the wherewithal, the discipline, the structure to do this with his wife, I don't understand why you couldn't. So, boom. Further down the story, It says they decided now that they would buy a farm for themselves and agreed to pay $3,600 for 80 acres of land. Okay. And then I think I've made my point. I think I've, you know what I'm saying? Right, Vince. Lifestyle creep. People don't understand that. Because I promise you, yo, there's a story in Junius's story where he had a hater. He did have a hater. But, you know, I ain't going to go into that because that's on the old stream and all of that. But we'll revisit that in a minute. We got other stuff that we're going to get into tonight. Yo, it's already 10. Or we started at 9 o'clock. So, yeah, we're going to rock for. And I am going to make up for that hour. We're going to do the whole 3 hours. So, we're going to rock till midnight. I don't know if y'all going to be here at midnight, but I will be here. We're going to be talking about this stuff because I do owe y'all that hour. I came in late. I should have started at 8, but I started at 9. All right. So, in that deal, like the deal was the 80 acres was $3,600. They put $2,200 down and they only had $1,400 remaining. Wait, hold on. Is the hater right here? If the haters, I think the hater is right here. Okay. So, all right. I am going to tell y'all the hater story just because the hater story is literally right here. So it says, excuse me, after Mr. Groves had taken possession of the farm, the 80 acres, nearly all of the neighbors began to tell him that he had made a bad bargain and to prophesy that he would not only be unable to pay the remaining $1,400 at the end of the year, but he would lose the $2,200 on top of it. So this is Booker T. Washington writing this, right? So he says, Mr. Groves told me that this was the first and only occasion in his life where he became discouraged and that he would not take heart again until he began to inquire who they were who were seeking to discourage him, and found that they were poor, shiftless people who own no land themselves. Listen, people, you're always going to have a bum hating on you. Always. No matter what. As a matter of fact, if you don't have a bum hating on you, then you're not doing anything of note. Listen, for the past decade and some change, y'all, it's 2025. I've been pushing this type of rhetoric. I've been pushing this agenda since 2013, 2014. So we are talking about 12 years of me saying these types of things and these people coming in my mentions and insulting my intelligence for over a decade. Let's not forget that Hotep is a slur to a lot of people. To a lot. Just saying Hotep nigga, you Hotep ass nigga is a slur. Now, of course, it's egregious to me. I don't like it. I don't respect it. But hey, what can you do except own it? And that's what we did. We owned it. Oh, Hotep ass nigga, you damn right. Hotep nigga, I'm president. Not only am I a client, I'm the Hotep president. You heard? I fly the Hotep flag all day long. Hotep is no longer a slur over here. Over at Hotep Nation, you calling me a Hotep ass nigga means you holding me in the highest regard. But Junius G. Groves in the late 19th century lived in a neighborhood of haters. His hate, yo, imagine you are bubbling. You started with 9 acres. You started with 9 acres just a few years ago. 9 acres of land, and you turn that into 80 acres. You and your wife, nobody else. Y'all thugging it. And you go home and you got your neighbors talking about, oh, you bought 80 acres. You going, not only is that, y'all not going to make enough money to pay that debt off, even though you paid most of it cash. You know what I'm saying? Most of the shit was $3,600. You feel me? And you put 22 down. All you owe is $1,400. So you don't even have that much to pay off. And you got these hating ass niggas talking about, oh, you think you gonna really have 80 acres? That's a bad deal. How the fuck you gonna tell me what's a bad deal and you own no land? And this what really struck me was because Junius was such a good faith dude, he believed him. Like, Junius wasn't a hater. Junius wasn't a hater at all. So it's like, he didn't really conceptualize his neighbors just being jealous and envious of him. So at first he was like, damn, like, did I really fuck up and do a bad deal? But once he learned that none of you niggas are rich, none of y'all are shiftless, and shiftless is just being a bum. You're a bum. All you do is sit around all day, and you own no land yourself. How can somebody with no land try to educate me or tell me what I need to be doing with my land? You don't own anything. Like, come on, son. Why would I listen to you? Yo, Dr. Rick Sanchez. Dr. Richard Sanchez. You feel me? Grandfather of Morty once said, I do not care about your booze because I've seen what you cheer. That is a profound bar. I use that to this very day. Why the fuck would I care about you booing me when you cheer for bullshit? I've seen what you cheer for. You cheer for baddies. You cheer for a bunch of bullshit every day. You cheer for degeneracy all day long on that app. Twitter, despite all of the great things that it has, is a hotbed for degeneracy. And you bum ass niggas cheer for it. Literally go back and forth with man versus woman. Gender warring for the past, I don't know how many years. Y'all cheer that on. Y'all cheer on women doing men bad. Y'all cheer on men doing women bad. Y'all cheer on parents doing their kids bad. Y'all cheer on children doing their parents bad. Y'all cheer on the most degenerate shit. Why would I care about you booing me? Why would I care about a nigga with no land booing me for having land? It does not make any sense at all, ever. You dig what I'm saying? Make sure y'all, retweeting this. Retweet that tweet that I had. Make sure y'all retweet this. I want everybody up in here. You dig? So, I say all that to say, reinvest your profits in your business. Stop squandering your money. Live within or below your means. Stack your paper. If you don't need it, don't buy it. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 15 or if you're 50. Stack your bread. 70% of your contemporaries in this country, and I mean just American citizens, do not have $1,000 saved up for an emergency. Do not be like them. Save up that $1,000. Sacrifice your DoorDash. Sacrifice all of your non-essential spending. Track your spending. Cut out all of the things you don't need. Stack that $1,000 up. Your future self will thank you. That's one of the things that I do all of the time. When I do something with foresight, I always thank my past self. I be like, yo, thank you, past Doe. Past Doe held me down. He held me down. He saved this bread, or he invested this money, or he did something a month ago, a week ago, a year ago, 2, 3, 4 years ago. He held me down in 2021 because he knew Doe in 2025 was going to need this money. His children were going to need this money. Look out for your future self. You know what I'm saying? People forget that the studying of history is not to live in the past. I say this all of the time. The studying of history is to order your steps in the present so you can positively affect the future. That is the reason why they want you focused on oppression all of the time. Because if you focused on Junius G. Groves, if you focused on S.B. Fuller, if you focused on Annie Turnbull Malone, if you focused on all of the black men and women who actually made things, created things, built things, maintained and obtained things, ran shit, then it would order your steps in the present to do the same thing, which would then positively affect the future because we have more Juniuses. We have more Samuel B. Fullers. We have more Annie Turnbull Malones. But they don't want you to do that. They want you to be the lowly haters. They want you to keep being the haters. They want you to be the envious niggas that are sitting over there mad at the fact that there are people who are making this money. No white people are in the story. No white oppression is in this story. Just a black couple, a married couple, building wealth with each other, holding each other down, tilling the soil together. That's what the story is about. And the story is being told by a black man. Now, I will say, I think Junius did say, like, yo, I didn't really have any issues with racism and stuff like that or whatever. That's just personal experience. That's fine. But I don't think Junius Groves denied that racism existed. But even his own words, like, yo, son, I wasn't worried about racism. And this is late 19th century, early 20th century. He had as far as 21st century people are concerned, he had every reason to complain. He had every reason to not do anything, not build any wealth, because the KKK exists, or black codes exist, or Jim Crow exists. He had every reason, as far as the 21st century is concerned, to never ever do anything with his life. And this is the stuff that I be trying to tell people, son. Y'all getting tricked out of your own history. You getting tricked out of your own spot because you letting your enemy tell your history. Your enemy is not going to tell you about Junius G. Groves or Samuel B. Fuller. They're going to tell you about the slaves and the slaves only. They're going to tell you about the oppression and the oppression only. They're going to tell you about all of the lynchings and the lynchings only. This is the problem. I remember this guy. He's going viral a few times. And the only reason why, matter of fact, it's going to be hard for me to find just because I don't know. I'm not really that proficient in searching things on desktop Twitter. But in a nutshell, he created a video responding to people saying that black people were much better under segregation. You know, black people cared about each other more, economic standings and all this other stuff, right? And he pointed to a chart that showed the poverty levels of black Americans as it pertains to time in America. And he showed from, I want to say, 1930s, maybe 1950s, all the way to like the 2010s or something like that. And in the chart, he's using this chart to say, yo, look at the poverty levels today versus the poverty levels in yesteryear. But because people they're not really literate. They know how to read, but they're not literate. Let's see if I can look at it. If I can find the chart that he was referencing, right? Poverty levels chart. Let's see, black. I'm supposed to say black first. Black poverty levels chart. And go to, it was this chart right here, y'all. Look at this chart, chat. I want y'all to look at this chart. And I want y'all to tell me what y'all see. Let me see if y'all can read the chart like I am. Now I know somebody like Memphis, I want you to keep your eyes on the road, bro. I don't want you to crash looking at this chart. But I want y'all to peep this chart. And I want y'all to tell me what y'all see. Hold on. Now, if you remember my tweet, don't cheat. All right, where's the zoom at? Here we go. All right. Everybody can see that, right? Everybody can see that. We got a nice full screen of it. All right. So this chart is from 1959 to 2022. These are the poverty rates for black individuals, right? What do y'all see? Tell me what sticks out to y'all. All right, cool. Tell me what sticks out to y'all. And this is not a wrong. I'm going to give y'all the answer, so don't even trip. I'm going to help y'all. But just looking at this chart, what do y'all see? I'm going to give y'all a second because I know I'm a little bit ahead of y'all, about 10 seconds. So I'm going to let y'all, take a little second. As a matter of fact, while y'all are catching up to me, I'm going to tweet. The trending is down. All right. So I gave y'all a little bit of time. You're right. Now, so he is talking about we were better under integration, right? Now, integration happened gradually over, particular time. But we can honestly say by 1965, 1970 is when everything was integrated. There wasn't anything left, right? So I want y'all to notice something. From the year 1959, okay, the poverty rate was 55.1, okay, to 1970, the rate dropped from 55 to about 33%. Okay? So that's a steep drop. And guess what? All of this was during segregation. All of this was during segregation. Exactly, Edward. Exactly, Scruggs. From 1970 to so let's check this out. From 1959 to 1970, we had a steep decline in poverty. And then from 1970 to pretty much now, we had this stagnation for decades. And you trying to tell me that integration was this great help? How? The stats right here. And dude was using this chart to tell me, to illustrate the point that integration helped us. How is it that from 1959, where everything is pretty much segregated, to 1970, to the start of everything being integrated, we had this steep decline. Steep decline. But then, boom, we here now, right? We integrated, y'all. We all integrated. We all one big happy family. One big hosh-posh of racial mixed bag of people. And from this time to right now, it took these many years. So it took how many years? 59 to 70. So that's what, 11 years? Something like that. Like 11 years to drop from 55% to 33%. Or about that. 55 to 33. And then from 33 to 17, look how many decades it took us. Y'all gonna tell me integration was that lit? How is it that we did more in the 11 years? In the 11 years is one little decade. You know what I'm saying? So it's essentially 1960 to 1970. So from 1960 to 1970, we do this. But from 1970 to 2022, it took us this much to match that. Come on, y'all. And he was adamant. Son was adamant about this chart. He was like, yo, look at what integration, look at the poverty levels. But this is how I know motherfuckers don't know how to read. They know how to read, but they not literate. Because the minute, I seen this chart one time, chat. I seen this chart one damn time. And I was like, oh, do we not see this? Do we not see the steep decline during segregation? And you're using this chart to argue integration. Now, y'all know I'll be going off on my tangent, so we're going to bring it all the way back to Samuel B. Fuller. We're going to bring it all the way back to Samuel B. Fuller, man. You know I get long-winded. That's how, Professor Dubes. Professor Dubes.
1947, he secretly bought out the company he originally bought soap from to avoid being boycotted by racist whites. By the 1950s, Fuller became the richest black man in America, averaging $18 million in yearly sales.
What? $18 million in yearly sales. Yo, not adjusted for inflation. Do we need to adjust this for inflation? What year was this? 1950s. Let's do just for an average. Just for an average, we'll go 1955, right? In the middle of the decade. 18 million, son. 18 million. A year, by the way. A year in sales. Now, this is revenue. This is not net. This is gross. You feel me? But still, 1955. How much is $18 million a year? Oh my God. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. This might be adjusted for inflation already, y'all. Yeah, we're not gonna get too big for our britches, because if he was scoring, I don't know. I don't remember. When I was doing the research for it, I don't remember if I put in the script that this was adjusted for inflation. We'll see. We'll see. That's $215 million a year. Even in this is the 1950s. It ain't like it was like 100 years ago. But anyway.
Fuller became the richest black man in America, averaging $18 million in yearly sales with a sales force of black and white businessmen. In fact, Fuller was kind of an entrepreneurial kingmaker. George E. Johnson, head of the Johnson Products Company, the first black American company to go public. John H. Johnson, head of Johnson Publishing Co. Mary Ellen Shadd Strong, head of Black Family Magazine, and countless others owe a significant amount of their success to Fuller's leadership and guidance.
Yo, I tried to tell y'all this. When it comes to black American successes, black American entrepreneurs, it wasn't about being selfish. It was always about sharing the wealth. And I know we have gotten to the point now where individualism has taken over the community, and getting it on your own, getting it for self, getting it for Delph. That's a thing. You feel me? What you eat don't make me shit and all this other shit. But yo, there was cohesion, man. I'm not going to sit here and lie on the ancestors, man. And I ain't going to hold you. This is in the 1950s. This ain't like this is happening, in the 1700s. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is somebody who was around when your granny was around. You know what I'm saying? Your granny may have actually bought products from him. My mom's was born in 66. So I know my grandmother was around. You know what I'm saying? So let's not forget, they did mention that he had white employees, but that go over a lot of people's heads. And I'm telling y'all, every time that y'all come to my live stream, you are going to learn about a black person who was getting it in their era. That's what we do over here. We're not going to keep doubling down on all of these oppressive stories. If you want the oppression, there's mad different channels you can go for the oppression. You're not getting much of that from here. Because I understand that there are young people that are going to be watching this. Young people, listen. Racism is not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. Hate is not going anywhere. Oppression is not going anywhere. What you are tasked to do while you are on this earth is to not only enrich yourself, but enrich your family. Not only your family, enrich your block. Not only your block, your community. Not only your community, your city. Not only your city, your state. And not only your state, but your country. That's your task while you are alive. All of these things that are going to be, you're going to be going up against, adversity, hurdles, all of that other stuff, they're going to exist. Prepare yourself. Nobody I've ever known, ever in my life, had an easy road. Even my rich friends. They were dealing with stuff mentally, physically. No matter what life you have, you are going to have adversity. It will behoove you to get comfortable with adversity. It will behoove you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it will behoove you to get this knowledge or get this understanding as early as possible, because you don't want to be 45 learning this stuff for the first time. You don't want to be 50. You don't want to be 39 learning these truths about the world, these realities about the world at that age. You don't. You want to be able to have this down pat in your teens, in your adolescence. So when by the time that you become 20, 25, 30, 35, you're equipped. I speak confidently is the way I do, but I had to learn a little bit later too. Now, thank God, the lessons that I did have in my adolescence helped me and propelled me to this point. But there were a lot of things that I needed to learn about the world that I should have known earlier later in life. So my job is to make sure that the generation coming up under me doesn't have to learn from these mistakes on their own. They can learn from mine. I got caught up in the fuck whitey shit. I did. I was in my 20s. They killed Trayvon Martin. They killed Mike Brown. And I was full of rage. I was full of emotion. It was fuck white people, fuck whitey, white supremacy, everything was coming out of my mouth every day, all day. I was blaming white people for the rain coming out of the sky, son. In my early 20s. And you know what happened? I stopped being angry because I wanted the solutions. That's what happens when you a man. When you a man and you get angry at something, one of the first things that your brain is going to want to do is fix it. So that's what I did. I started looking up people like Claude Anderson. First of all, I'm not going to say looking up people. I started looking up solutions to the issues. Like, yo, why are black Americans poor like this? What about the policing? What about all of this and that? And then I found Claude Anderson. I found Hotep Jesus. He wasn't called Hotep Jesus back then, but that's, it's my boy. He's calling himself Hotep Jesus now. Everybody calls him that, so that's what it is. I don't call him Jesus. I call him HJ because I'm not calling nobody else Jesus that wasn't named Jesus. So that's just fine. It's not like I'm a staunch Christian, but I'm not calling my bro Jesus. It is what it is. That's my man, pots and pans. I do anything for him except call him Jesus. That's just what it is. That's my brother, though. But this is where the creation of Hotep Nation comes from. This is where me creating CUTC, Clean Up the City, when I was living in Philadelphia. Cause I'm like, yo, now I ain't going front. It had an air of narcissism. There because I'm thinking I'll be the first Negro in America to produce solutions at least in the 21st century. You feel me? At least in the 21st century. Like, yo, y'all ain't never heard of group economics before, have you? Despite the fact that there's books and books and books on this stuff, where I'm learning it from. My hubris led me to write my first book, Black America Inc., A $1 Trillion Nation. It's my first book. Matter of fact, let me find it. I knew I got it somewhere on my bookshelf. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, chat. Where is it? Not on this shelf. I got several bookshelves, chat. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back, chat. All right. I can't find it. I can't find it right now, but it's all good. We can look at it on the net. Because I do Black America Inc., excuse me. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Look at me. Look at me on Amazon. Look at me and my book on Amazon, man. This is my first book. Look at the year I wrote it, so y'all know I'm not capping. I've been about this. I've been doing this for some time now. This is my book. I wrote this book in 2015 and published it in 2016. I've been talking like this, y'all. I've been talking like this. This is really my body. This is me. You dig? So when it comes down to, you know, the stuff that I care about, understand, man, like I've been talking like this. I've been, you know, wanting to help my people. So this is the path that I was on. Like I told you, I was on my fuck whitey shit, and I was like, dog, we need to we need to have a solution, man. So I you know, looked at Claude Anderson. I got in tune with a lot of the you know, the Thomas Sowells and the what's my other excuse me, Walter E. Williams. I got in tune with Walter E. Williams. I got in tune with solution-based people. That's where I found Maj Toure. That's where I found, you know, all of these different people that were solution-based people. Like, I've been talking this talk. I've been walking this walk. I've really been outside. And you know what's so funny? Because in my earlier days, you know, I had much more inflammatory tweets than I do now. I mean, I still get my inflammatory on, don't get me wrong. But this dude, I forgot who it was, this white conservative dude, he thought I was like a black liberal. So he told people, like, he highlighted my book, and then he had people bombard my reviews or whatever. But I still, I mean, look, you know what I'm saying? I'm still out here, baby. Still out here. So, you know, I you know, just letting y'all know, I really, you know, I really do what I say. So, again, let's get back to the video. Let's see what we got. What do you think about boarding schools, working with CNBC, church, not news, for funding, Save Black Children, Save Black America? You listen, I am a fan of all types of alternative schooling. I'm a big proponent of homeschooling. Hotep Nation has a homeschooling initiative. I also follow a homeschooling page that, you know, that I'm going to be working with when it comes to the Black American history curriculum. Hopefully they're open to it. You dig what I'm saying? Can you buy the book without going through Amazon? Nah, Scruggs, man. I did the they got like a publishing deal where it's like a 60-40 split, and you know, of course, 60-40 their way. Because they provide everything. They provide the materials. I didn't have to do anything but write the book and create the cover. So 60-40 split with Amazon. So yeah, that is just through Amazon. I ain't gonna lie, if I'm keep it all the way 100. The computer that I wrote that book on is somewhere in this house. I can't find it, and I don't even know. Nah, I ain't gonna say all of that. But yeah, if you guys want to grab the book, for sure. But I will say, this was written 10 years ago. I know a lot more. You know what I'm saying? So I will say the book is very idealistic. I will say that. It's a motivational piece. It's grounded in facts, don't get me wrong. I did do some checking. There's a whole black business directory in it. The thing is like 400, 500 pages. I mean, how many pages is this? Like, I took my time with this book. But I was 25 years old when I wrote it. Yeah, 446 pages. You know what I'm saying? So, definitely. You know, it's a good read. It's a good read. Obviously there's going to be some typos there and all of that. Trouble black youth, even bringing kids up from up north to the south to board. Just curious on your thoughts. I ain't going to lie. Are y'all familiar with King Randall? I think y'all should be familiar with King Randall. He has the X school for boys. I rock with that. And I do rock with the thought of like the troubled youth, especially in that age group, because that's a very volatile age for them. You know, this is after the theory of, not even the theory, because I mean, well, I guess it is a theory because it's still backed by facts, but the theory that, you know, by the time you're 5 years old, your personality is what your personality is and all of that, and your environment, good or bad, is going to continue to shape that. So you got a bunch of young children at the ages of 12 and 18. It's a very formative years in your life. And then being surrounded by, let's just not even toot my own horn, but men and women like us, I think that'd be best for them. I do. And as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, where was that footage at? Where's that footage at? Where is it? Okay. I want to say Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Greenwood, boarding school. I want to say they had a boarding school out there on Black Wall Street. I want to say that. But yeah. Yep. Man, listen, man. Shout out to the ancestors, bro. Shout out to the ancestors. I know I don't be tripping, but there was a place where I saw the actual building with the students in front of it and all of that. But they had boarding schools even back then. So yeah, man, I'm definitely with that. Because one of the things that the kids do need to do is to separate from those toxic environments. Whether it's their household, whether it's their neighborhoods, whether it's both. Sometimes you need to just go away, separate yourself, and be able to get that good information and live and change your lifestyle. Yeah, man, King Randall, that's the bro, man. I respect King Randall's work heavily. I know that people like got some shit to say about him because he's apolitical. He doesn't really care. You know what I'm saying, about the policies and stuff like that. He's willing to sit down with any and everybody if they're going to help them boys. So yeah, this is the Booker T. Washington High School, but I remember that there was a boarding school out there. But yeah, so I'm definitely down. I think that's a great idea, getting them kids out of those bad environments. Yeah, man, absolutely send it to me, man. Absolutely. Anything that's solution based that got anything to do with Black America, I'm definitely rocking with you, bro. You feel me? I'm proud of. Yo, listen, man, we need more and more solution-based people. That's just what it is. We need more and more solution-based people. So we're going to get back to the video because, yo, I'm telling you, the time be flying. This is what I'm saying. I can see how, like, the Kai Sanats and the DDGs and the iShow Speeds and all of the youngins who be streaming, I can see how they go for 6 hours, 7 hours on this stuff, yo, because if you just talking to the audience, my nigga, you get lost. I started at 9 o'clock and it's about to be 11 and I don't even feel no fatigue at all. You feel me? It's just that I'm not going to be up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I doubt y'all going to be either. Y'all got more than likely got work in the morning. I got to make sure that I'm up bright-eyed, bushy-tailed for the market to be open. So let's finish this. But hold on. We got to make this point. We glossed over this. He was a kingmaker. I want you to understand. He put on for his people, and look at the put on. I want y'all to see the people that he put on. Let's check this out.
Force of Black and white businessmen. In fact, Fuller was kind of an entrepreneurial kingmaker.
Sorry for the white imagery. Sorry for the white imagery. It's all good though.
George E. Johnson, head of the Johnson Products Company, the first Black American company to go public.
Listen, y'all didn't have Afro Sheen or Ultra Sheen in y'all bathroom growing up? Tell me right now. Tell me square to my face that you didn't have Afro Sheen or Ultra Sheen in your crib. Your moms ain't buy that blue can? She ain't put that in your hair to go to church? What? It's because of I was about to say SD Redmond. It's another one, but SB Fuller did that, man. He put him on. First publicly traded black company. You wouldn't get this without Samuel B. Fuller. And I want y'all to keep this in mind because this video is in two parts. So, yeah. So that's one person.
John H. Johnson, head of Johnson
Publishing. Ebony Magazine, Jet Magazine would not have existed without Samuel B. Fuller putting these people on. Whether they worked for him, whether he invested in their company early. Group economics, y'all. This is what I'm talking about, yo. I understand that our wealthy class doesn't owe black American lower classes anything. I get it, man. I'm not about to argue with you if you don't want to spread your wealth. I'm not. But, man, I'm not even saying throw it amongst the people that are not going to do right by your money. But I am saying, yo, you need to invest in your community, man. Like, how is it that these big old real estate developers and shit like that get to come into your hood and all these places, buy up all of those properties for cheap, renovate them, and then rent them out, and you don't? And we got S.B. Fuller, Samuel B. Fuller, investing in all of these black businesses. People be talking about shop black and, you know, support black business and all of that, which is dope. That's cool. But I'm more so worried, like, I'm more so focused on black businesses actually investing with other black businesses, creating networks and conglomerates. Because this is what happened. This man sold soap and other, you know, cleaning products and stuff, right? Then he invested in HBA, health and beauty products. And then he also invested in magazines. All black, though.
Publishing Co. Mary Ellen Shad Strong, head of Black Family Magazine.
I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I didn't even know this one existed. I didn't see this one before. I knew about Jet Magazine. I knew about Ebony. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know about Black Family. Did not know about them. Shout out to Black Family Magazine. You know what I'm saying? Look at the things that they were talking about. 6 childhood diseases, survival, managing family resources, vegetarian diet. Like, come on, man. Why? Like, how on earth do y'all expect me to be in? Like, I just don't have it, yo. I don't have this inferiority complex when it comes to the ancestors in my history because I know shit like this. I have nothing to be insecure about at all. Look at this beautiful black family. Like, come on. What is there to be insecure about when you know this exists or existed?
And countless others owe a significant amount of their success to Fuller's leadership and guidance. By the early 1960s, Fuller had offices in 38 states and over 5,000 employees nationwide.
5,000 employees. What up, Glasgow? Welcome, brothers. Oh, better late than never, brother. Trust. We having a great time in here. 5,000 employees nationwide. 5,000 employees nationwide. Insane.
1/3 of them white. Fuller's reputation of being an incredible businessman cannot be denied, but it was this reputation and success that made him a controversial target in the world of politics. And we'll get into that, part 2 of this video.
Yo, when I tell you part 2 of this video, the research that I did for part 2 of this video pissed me off so bad, chat. Oh my God. So now we spent the first, we spent however long we've been talking about Sam, talking about all of the great shit that he did, where he come from, and all of that stuff, right? And then all of the success that he had and all of that, right? Then let's get into part 2 of this video. Insane how they treat my boy, how they treat my OG. Let's watch.
Samuel B. Fuller, the richest black man in America and decorated businessman. Now, Sam wasn't keen on highlighting the ills of racism.
Who that sound like, y'all? Who that sound like? Who that sound like? Wasn't keen on the racism. Wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It exists, but I ain't really about, highlighting it too much. It exists. It's something, it's just anyway, let's go.
Oh, no. To him, it was just another obstacle in a world full of them that you had to overcome. Since he only had a 6th grade education.
Yo, it's just another obstacle, yo. It's just something that we got to go through. It's something that we have to deal with. You're not ending it. You have to just overcome it. That's what it was. And I'm telling you, these emotional ass people that get you to thinking that you need to eradicate racism in order for you to succeed. That's some loser ass shit to think. Not gonna hold you. That's like saying women can't succeed unless sexism is eradicated from this planet. It's never happening. You feel me? It's never happening. You need to understand that whatever you gonna go through in life, you gonna go through in life, whether it be sexism, racism, whatever ism or phobia that you about to go through. Trust me, it's gonna be there after you die. It's human nature, G. Sorry. I know you don't like to hear that. I know you would like to think that all we need to do is topple white supremacy or end racism, and all of these things in life are going to be sweet. But it's like, yo, dog, there's places that have absolutely no white people in it at all that are absolute hellholes. And it's just a bunch of black and brown people oppressing each other, doing all types of shit to each other. You dig what I'm saying? I don't know about any white man when it comes to female genitalia mutilation. When it comes to that happening in Africa, I don't. I'm not saying this to disparage Africans or nothing like that, but that is something that they chose to do all on their own. You dig what I'm saying? It's not going to go away. And this is what I be talking about. This is the reason why I keep it historical, because you can't refute this. Samuel B. Fuller was able to become a multi-millionaire during the 50s, 60s, Jim Crow. Like he was able to do that. So why everybody, when you watch all of these different movies or documentaries and shit like that talking about the 1950s and 60s, Samuel B. Fuller was in the background with 5,000 employees nationwide in 38 states. Like, where do we go from here? Like, this is what I be trying to tell y'all. But then you got a bunch of emotional ass people that tell you that the end all be all to black American history at this time was racism. And it's a load of bullshit, son. It is. And you know what's so funny? You know what's so egregious about this shit more than anything? Is that the people that be selling y'all that shit are rich. There's a professor. His name is Sandy Darity, I want to say. He actually created the study on the racial wealth gap, him and somebody else. And I remember this is back when, my first page had over 20,000 followers. So whenever I tweeted, especially about something as controversial as this, it spread. I wouldn't say viral, but it definitely spread. It was easier to get 500 retweets back then than it is right now. You dig what I'm saying? And Sandy Darity fell up in my mentions one day. And he thought I was one of them, ignorant people that they consider ignorant Hotep people. And I was saying that the racial wealth gap is irrelevant. I do not care. I do not care. To think that white people need to be as rich as black people, or black people need to be rich as white people in order for black people to get a leg up is some bullshit. I understand about the 200-year head start. I understand about all of that shit. But, the facts are the facts. It is what it is. So, when it came down to the study, I read it in full. And then I promptly was like, this is some bullshit. Like, this study is a big nothing burger. Like, this is not saying anything. It's just making excuses as to why your black ass right now shouldn't be worried about building wealth. White supremacy is not the reason why you are squandering your money. White supremacy is not the reason you don't have the discipline to get healthy. White supremacy is not the reason why you are lacking in your personal development. I promise you. I promise you. Because the same white supremacist system that y'all are talking about has poor white people in it. And that always bothered me. That always bothered me. Because I'm not going to hold you. When you look at Nazi Germany, after Hitler took over, he incentivized building white families. He incentivized economic incentives for white people to propagate. If you had one child, it would take 25% off the cost of your home. If you had 2 children, he would take 50% off the cost of your home. If you had 3, 75. If you had 4 white children, if you were a white family with 4 children, your house was completely subsidized. That, if you're going to call it anything, is white supremacy. To where any and every white person in Germany can benefit from it. White supremacy is not having the bulk of white people in America living in squalor, living in trailer parks. And that's the problem. A lot of the black people that espouse this shit, they know that most black people are never going to go to poor white areas. They know that poor white areas are just as secluded or racially homogenous as black poor areas. You have some mixing in there, of course. You know, we had a couple white boys in my hood, and I'm pretty sure there's a few black families in the trailer parks. But those people don't get talked about. They definitely don't get talked to. But because of my profession or the job that I had years ago, I was literally smack dab in the middle of the poorest white trailer trash places that you could ever imagine, in Pennsylvania, in Maryland, in Jersey. I was literally going door to door and seeing how the poorest of the poor white Americans live. Now, I didn't make it all the way to West Virginia, which is where that's ground zero for poor white Americans. But I've been in some severely impoverished white areas. I'm talking about 98, 99% white. Just white people. And I promise you, that white supremacy shit, it ain't working for them. It ain't. You know why? For the same reasons that shit ain't working for you. They are in an environment that incentivizes you to keep yourself poor. The dollar stores instead of actual health food stores. All of the things that you see in these areas, as far as black America goes, is happening in these white areas. They're gentrifying it and all of that type of shit. All of it is happening. This shit has always been largely economic. They use race to get you at the bottom fighting each other, because they know as long as we keep these two groups at each other's throats, they'll never see us putting both of our hands in both of their pockets. But I've been in places that you've never been, like these small ass towns in Pennsylvania where it's only 3,000 people, 200 people. I've been in a Pennsylvania town going door to door where the entire town is a mile long. We were able to knock every door, and 100% of the people there were poor white people. Y'all haven't been in these places. So when it's time to actually confront your own preconceived notions about all of these systems that y'all think are actually happening, it crumbles around your ears, because, yo, son, they're never getting out of poverty, son. They're never getting out of poverty. Because their behaviors, their low IQ, all of the things that they got going on in that area is literally keeping them poor. Now, it's largely due to their own behaviors, because people get complacent in poverty. That's what they want you to do. That's what they wanted me to do. They wanted me to be complacent with being a high school dropout, but I just refused to lose. You know what I'm saying? So that is the reason why I don't have these racial hangups, yo. That's the reason why I don't have these insecurities, because I understand that this shit ain't really got anything to do with my skin color. There's going to be racist people regardless. But I grew up in areas where black people, the number one thing that they call white people was crackers. I lived in Philadelphia for 10 years where, like, they don't call Chinese food restaurants in Philadelphia. They don't. They don't call him that. They call him, yo, we gonna get some chinks. That's literally what they say. So when it comes down to like racial slurs, I tell y'all a story. I was going door to door in one of these small white towns, right? It was summertime. It was hot as hell outside. So I'm knocking on doors, doing my little sales pitches and all of that. And this dude window was open. He was watching TV and he was on his house phone. That's how you know we in a small town, because these motherfuckers still was using their landlines. I'm knocking on the door. He look over. He on the phone. He look over. Turns back to the TV and says, yo, it's a nigger at my door. Hold on, I'm going to call you back. I laughed. So he opens the door. Now, keep in mind, he didn't call me a nigga, but he referred to me as a nigga to his white friend over the phone. So and I hit him with the pitch, and he was like, nah, no thank you. And I said, have a good fucking day. Verbatim, that's what I said. But, you know, I got to understand, first of all, this is a small town in Pennsylvania. It's open carry, and I'm on his property. So if I were to try to get buck on his property, I'm dead to rights, legally and physically. If he wanted to boom me because I wanted to punch him in the face for referring to me as a nigga, then he would have been all within his rights to do that. You got to think. De-escalation. Shout out to Maj Toure for that. So, yeah. But you know why I didn't take offense? Do you know how many times I've said the word cracker in my house? Do you know how many times I've referred to white people as cracker in my house? Why? Why would I take offense? This man is poor. I'm literally richer than him. He has a landline with no cell phone. He's absolutely no threat to me whatsoever. This is what I'm talking about. But you'll have people hear this story and think that something super crazy happened to me because they've never interfaced with any of these races. They keep white and black people largely separated unless you get into these, of course, your New York Cities and your Philadelphias and your San Franciscos and your LAs. You dig what I'm saying? But when we talking about the ghettos, when we talking about the trailer parks and all of that, it's largely separate. I've been in Mexican trailer parks too. You feel me? So because of my quote unquote worldliness, I do have a broader picture and I understand what's really going on out here. And I don't get hung up on a lot of the shit a lot of people get hung up on when it comes to race relations, history, and all this other stuff. I keep it very down the middle and objective. I understand that the average white person is not worried about black people, especially if they're poor. I promise you they don't give a fuck about what's going on. They don't. They watch the shit on the news. They don't have any black friends, and that's what they know about you. The same way that you get your white trailer park information from movies, TV shows, or what have you. You're not interested to learn these people's plight, and that's fine because they're not interested to learn yours. But what I'm saying is, don't get so caught up in the pimping. I tell y'all this all the time. Do not get caught up in the pimping, son. Don't. Because that's what they want you to do. They want you to get caught up in the pimping. They want you to be so emotional that all it takes is a few words to get you up out of here. Trick you off the street. A dummy would have cursed that white man out on his porch, probably punched him in the face, and that white man would have boomed him to hell. And now you're dead, and he's about to go back inside and tell his friend, yo, I just had to kill a nigga for punching me on my steps. Because y'all don't have any strategy, and y'all running off of emotionality. Y'all have to understand the real what's going on out here. And I know the dynamics get a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? I know the dynamics get a little bit different when you go further south and, you know, all of that other stuff. But I'm telling you, it would behoove you to not be so emotional about these things. It would. So I say all of that to say, I am saying this stuff in the 21st century. This is what Sam was doing in the middle of the 20th century. Let's get into it.
Was able to amass so much wealth for himself.
Oh, wait, yeah. Just to reiterate, 6th grade education, not 6 years old. He had a 6th grade education.
And others using business and group economics, he disagreed with the approach that many civil rights leaders used to tackle social injustice. And Fuller was no stranger to racism either. When Southern whites learned he owned a cosmetics company that they once believed was white-owned, they boycotted Fuller. And it hurt. It hurt bad. White banks wouldn't give Fuller lines of credit despite him being a rich black man. In response, Fuller would crowdfund right from his community in the south side of Chicago.
Yo, son. This is what I be talking about. See, these are the people that they want to call Uncle Toms and shit because they don't understand. But they went through racism too. That same white business that we talked about in part 1, the white people found out. The white people found out that that a black man owned that company and that they boycotted him. Y'all want to talk about boycotting Target and all that shit? They boycotted a local small business and it hurt him. White banks was like, fuck out of here. We don't care that you're a millionaire. We don't want your money. We don't want to do business with you. We don't want to do business with you. We don't care. You're black. This same man still said, yo, the way y'all are approaching this civil rights thing is not the way to do it. So what did Sam do? He went grassroots. He went right to the same communities that he's employing, that he's getting his customer base from and all of that. All right, white people don't want to rock because, you know, hey, OPM. Shout out to Dom Kennedy. We spending OPM, other people's money, and we like it, love it. You know what I'm saying? OPM, ain't nothing wrong with OPM. I ain't gonna lie now. I ain't gonna lie. Shout out to Booker T. Washington. He was the king of OPM. You heard? You will hit Carnegie up, Rockefeller. Yeah, give me some of that white millionaire money. You rock with me, right? You a fan of my work, right? Yeah, give me some of that white money so I can invest in Tuskegee. Give me some of that white money so I can invest in Langston, Oklahoma, and build up Langston University. Give me some of that white money so I can invest in this black shit. Oh, yeah. We ain't got no problem. Listen, I be trying to tell people with strategy, son. Y'all niggas be so emotional. Y'all be so emotional, son. Don't care about how these motherfuckers feel about me behind closed doors, dog. Because once these motherfuckers interface with me in public and show me the utmost respect, and I'm able to get this money from Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller and Henry Rogers and all these other people, oh yeah, dog, I don't care how they feel about black people behind closed doors, because I just used Julius Rosenwald's money to build 5,000 black schools across the South. I do not care how Julius personally feels about black people when he's in his living room. I don't care. I don't care. Because y'all don't care. Gucci told you niggas that they don't fuck with you at all. You still buy Gucci. You still shop at Gucci, no problem. There was a rumor that lasted all of these years that Tommy Hilfiger didn't want black people in his clothes, and y'all niggas still bought it. So it's like, y'all don't care for real, son. If the CEO and the president of Gucci said, I don't want no black people buying my shit ever again, y'all would buy it out of spite. Y'all would make him richer out of spite, son. I don't care about your feelings when it comes to racism, yo, because the most part it just be like prejudice that they have and shit like that don't mean anything, son. I remember this shit blew my mind when it happened. I remember we was on the timeline. And something happened with Popeyes. And Popeyes did something or whatever, son. And some people were calling for the boycott of Popeyes. I think Hotep was somebody on our side of logic was like, yo, fuck it, we boycotting Popeyes. And all you had to type in Twitter was not boycotting or boycotting Popeyes. And all of the results, all of them, not some of them, not most of them, all of the results was like, yo, I'm not boycotting Popeyes. These niggas went out of their way to let you know that, dog, Popeyes is still getting my money. I don't care. Excuse me. Floyd Mayweather was interviewed coming out of Gucci during the supposed Gucci boycott. Said, I'm still spending money with Gucci. One of the richest black men in America. Said, I'm still shopping with Gucci. Does not matter. H&M, coolest monkey in the jungle. The little black boy. Y'all remember that? Did anybody really stop shopping at H&M? Of course not. Y'all do not care about racism like you think you do. Y'all don't. And that's fine. Because in reality, Samuel B. Fuller didn't care either. Hey, the white bank said no. The white people boycotted me. But I still got my community. I still got the black and white people that still support me. That's what matters more. So let's get back into it.
However, despite his success, when he told the National Association of Manufacturers that, quote, a lack of understanding of the capitalist system and not racial barriers was keeping blacks from making progress,
yeah, that's a fact, Sam. Who cloned Tyrone in real time, for sure. But look at this quote, y'all. Look at this quote. A lack of understanding of the capitalist system and not racial barriers was keeping blacks from making progress. Like, I understand, son. I understand that public schools have sold you a bill of goods as far as history goes. And I'm not here to sit here and say that racism wasn't a problem. It is. It's always going to be a problem. But I am here to tell you that, yo, like, your ancestors, the ones that was actually getting it out the mud, because we seen in video 1, part 1, it ain't like he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Samuel B. Fuller came from the trenches, just like everybody else. That be the shit when it comes to a lot of these people. Most of these men and women come from the same backgrounds that we come from. Most times even worse. These be children of sharecroppers, yo. Or sharecroppers themselves. Junius G. Groves was a fucking slave, dog. He was a slave. You gonna tell me you had it worse than a slave in America? How could a former slave go on to become a millionaire and you can't? Go ahead and tell me it's white supremacy. Go ahead and tell me white supremacy in the 21st century is the reason why you can't get rich, but a slave, a former slave in the 19th century could. Go ahead. I want you to make that make sense in your own mind. You can't. And in between Junius G. Groves and you was Samuel B. Fuller in the 50s and 60s saying a lack of understanding of the capitalist system and not racial barriers was keeping blacks from making progress. This is after he was boycotted by white people. After white banks denied him loans. He didn't live in La La Land. He didn't think that racism didn't exist. It's not that at all. He even acknowledged the fact that there are racial barriers. Because if he was a person that didn't think that shit existed, he would have said a lack of understanding of the capitalist system is keeping blacks from making progress because there are no racial barriers. But he didn't say that. The bigger issue is that y'all don't understand the system and y'all more worried about racial barriers. That's what he said. They both exist. And what is more important? You putting food on the table or you worried about changing white people's feelings towards you? And during this time in the 50s and 60s, that's what everybody wanted to happen. They wanted to change white hearts. And I know that sounds crazy, right? But a black man from Black Lives Matter went up to Hillary Clinton when she was running for president in 2015 and told Hillary Clinton, we are here to change white hearts. That's what he said. Some effeminate black dude told Hillary Clinton to her face that we're here to change white hearts. Do y'all honestly believe that it's really the hatred of white people that's keeping you broke? You think that if all white people just magically started loving black people that you would somehow get rich? Why would you be the one that's picked? Why wouldn't they just pick somebody else other than you? The logic that people be floating around with, son, nobody ever challenges them. Nobody ever puts it up to the light and scrutinizes it. And when the ancestors say shit like this, they just write it off as him being an Uncle Tom or not knowing, despite this man making $18 million adjusted for inflation gross every year. You feel me? Sammy says, perfectly crystallizes what I've been saying about the new crop of black socialist podcasts. They're even giving capitalist light advice, but still stuck on making everyone understand race barriers. See? We've been dealing with the same issues for decades, man. For centuries. You have these emotional ass people wanting to change the world instead of changing them. Instead of actually doing what they need to do to survive in the system that they live in. Because what I find funny is that none of these people want to move to China. None of these people want to move to Cuba. None of these people want to move to Cambodia. They don't want to live in a socialist country. They don't want to live in communistic countries. You can't get Coca-Cola and Wi-Fi and HGTVs and movie theaters and shit like that in these countries. No, you cannot. Look at footage of Cuba in 2025. Go ahead. Now, I know China got its own development and all that other shit, but they 100% use capital. They 100% have for-profit companies in their country. But go ahead and speak against the state of China. I remember I was watching a video of a police interrogation in China, and the interrogation room was simply a dude sitting in a chair where he's in the chair all the way up to his neck in bars, and they're just asking him about the shit he was posting on social media. All of the surveillance and all the other shit. Now, don't get me wrong, America got a crazy surveillance state as of right now. We've seen what's going on with Palantir and all of that other stuff. Definitely overreaching government. We have governmental problems, obviously, but it ain't racism. That's the issue. It's them overreaching and doing too much as a government. Racism is going to be a part of that shit because they're going to target poor people. They're going to target, vulnerable people. And a lot of the times those are black and brown people. However, to think that there are no vulnerable white people is just you being ignorant. And how the fuck you going to topple ignorance, which is racism, which is ignorance, and being ignorant yourself? Like, I be seeing that shit. I be seeing niggas who want to disband or try to dismantle white supremacy by being racist towards white people. And they say stupid shit like, yo, we can't be racist because we don't have any power and resources. So you can have all of the prejudice and bigotry in the world against some random white person because of what your ancestors went through and shit like that. But then you also want the government to be this benevolent, perfect body of people who don't make any mistakes or don't have any corruption and all this other shit when you are corruptible in and of itself. If we were to put you in a position of power, you would oppress white people. That's what you're telling me. When you say phrases like, yo, black people can't be racist because they don't have power, they don't have any resources, you are literally snitching on yourself that if we were to put you in a position of power right now, you would oppress white people just because you could. But people don't realize this shit. And they only realize this shit when they hear somebody from another race saying this shit. And this is why I talk to black Americans for the most part. Because we need some housekeeping. We need to make some fucking changes around here because the type of shit that y'all be floating around here with is destructive. Y'all make excuses for the fucked up shit that's going on in our communities, like we don't have the autonomy and agency, just like y'all do for y'all ancestors. They able to build all of this wealth or make all of these achievements and create all of these beautiful things, but then you take away their autonomy and agency, and then when motherfuckers is getting gunned down by the dozens every weekend in a particular hood, now all of a sudden it's white supremacy's fault. No, it's not. It's not. It's the person who did all of that shit's fault. Because there's plenty of people. Most of the people in the ghetto are not criminals. So you can't blame the system. You can't. If most of the residents in any given hood in Black America are not committing the crimes, and only a fraction of the people in these hoods are committing crimes, you cannot blame the system. You can't. Inherently, you can't. There's something else there. Now, if 51% or more of the residents of these hoods were committing crime, then we can have a conversation. But your granny who grew up in Flatbush her whole life, never committed a crime in her life, went to church every Sunday, went to work Monday through Friday, took care of the fucking grandkids on Saturday. She never committed a crime and she lived in the same hood as the gangbangers. Y'all just be talking. And the funny shit about it, you got all of these talking points from white liberal people who look down on you, who literally look at you as uncontrollable. You have no self-control. So they make intellectual excuses for your behavior. No different than the way they explain the behaviors of animals in a zoo. That's how they look at y'all. And you wear that bullshit as a badge of honor because some intellectual white motherfucker called you stupid in so many words and you can't control it. And you don't have any power, so you can't be racist. Some white person said that shit about you. Some racist white person said that shit about you, but because they said that shit with a smile on their face, you took it as a fucking compliment and you wear it as a badge of honor. I can't be racist. I don't got no power. You think your ancestors would have said some stupid shit like that? That sounds like some shit your enemy would say. That literally sounds like some shit the KKK would say. But y'all cling on to this shit. Let's finish the video.
He wasn't received well, to say the least. As one of the leaders in the NAACP in Chicago, Fuller also tried to advise Martin Luther King during the Montgomery bus boycotts. He told Martin, "The bus company is losing money and willing to sell. We should buy it." However, King was skeptical and pushed for an integrated bus line instead. All this led to Fuller being boycotted by Black Americans as well.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, yo. Y'all see how hype I was and shit yesterday because of these stories and all of that. But, yo, this shit reminded me. Look how, watch how, this is probably 30 seconds left of this video, but watch how they treat this black man. Watch how black people treated this black man because he wanted to own some shit instead of begging white people for handouts. Watch how they treat him.
He called out the socialist welfare state that was being ushered in by the FDR and the Truman administration and so on. He's quoted as saying, "You may not be physically dead on welfare, but you are spiritually." Unfortunately, Fuller filed for bankruptcy in 1969 after the boycotts and the lawsuits caught up to him. However, so much can be learned from his...
Yo, did y'all not hear that quote? Sammy just said something similar, right? Now, I don't know if Sammy watched this video before, but this is what he said he had to say about welfare.
And so on. He's quoted as saying, "You may not be physically dead on welfare, but you are spiritually."
You may not be physically dead on welfare, but you are spiritually. Like, real shit, son. You first of all, my voice is hoarse, so I wasn't gonna get that hype tonight anyway. But this is a real sobering episode of Hotep History Live, yo, because it just reminds me, son. It just reminds me of how people who are forward thinking, people who are understanding that what country that we actually lived in and all of that shit, son. Like, they understood the actual landscape. They overstood the actual landscape, and they built wealth, employed thousands of people, helped endless amounts of black American entrepreneurs, did all of the things that they were supposed to do for their fucking people. And this is how they repaid him, yo. They sued that nigga into bankruptcy, son. All because he didn't want no motherfucking handouts, son. All because he didn't want no motherfucking handouts. That we got us. We do not need the white man to save us. We got us. Let's stay focused. Let's keep building. I was a fucking child of sharecroppers and I made millions of dollars helping black American people, son. And y'all still won't listen to me. We should buy the fucking bus company, Martin. Listen to me. So coming up, I'll let y'all, I'll spill a couple beans. Coming up, I don't know if you guys are like Marvel fans or whatever, but a year or two ago, I had learned that Marvel has this series called the What If series. And I'm going to do that, but the Black American historical version. And this is going to be one of the what ifs. What if Martin Luther King listened to S.B. Fuller and A.G. Gadsden and bought the bus company? And all of the subsequent things that would happen naturally based upon that. Think about how popular Martin Luther King was. The amount of influence that he had over millions of black Americans at the time, being at that age. And he would have been an example of resilience and ownership. that we can turn prejudice into profit, just like Philip A. Payton Jr. did in yesterday's episode. I'm trying to get y'all to understand something, yo. The game is to be played, yo. You wanting to throw all of the chess pieces off to the board does not mean you won the game. You thinking that you need to burn the chessboard does not allow you to win the game. You moving to another chessboard doesn't mean you won that game. You left. Now, there's some people who left the country and all that other shit. You dig what I'm saying? But I'm trying to tell y'all something. That's not how you win the game. Samuel B. Fuller understood how to win the game. The man had a 6th grade education and became a millionaire. I don't understand what more. Like, I deadass don't know what more did you want from a black American man at this time. What more was necessary for you to listen to him? What did he need to do? Because I'm telling you, if Samuel B. Fuller was alive today, or if we were alive back then, they would be calling him a Hotep ass nigga. I'm telling you, they would have been calling S.B. Fuller a Hotep ass nigga. And I would have told him that, yo, that's, you know, they trying to use it as a slur, but you need to be proud of that. You are Hotep, for sure. And shout out to the people on my timeline that I've been interacting with and all of that. I'm slowly recruiting you into Hotep Nation. You may not know this, but yeah, you'll be Hotep. You'll be a card carrying member of Hotep Nation by the end of the year, by the end of the summer for a lot of you. John says, I'm from Birmingham, Alabama originally, and A.G. Gadsden was a true legend. Didn't learn most about him until I left the state, shaking my head. That's a fact, bro. I lived in Philadelphia for 10 years. In North Philly, by the way. And I drove by the Lorraine Devon Hotel for 10 years. Never knew that it was owned by a black man. Never knew that it was owned by Father Devon. Until I did research on a bunch of cult leaders, black American cult leaders, last year. And we're going to get into that too. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having to peruse through the internet, I got plenty of content that we need to be going over and break down bit by bit. And that's going to be another video we're going to get into this week. You dig what I'm saying? But yo, son, like, this is the reason why I study our history, bro. I know that they kept S.B. Fuller away from you. I know that they kept A.G. Gadsden away from me. I learned about A.G. Gadsden, I want to say a year or two ago. Did y'all know that there was a black soda company? You know what I'm saying? The Joe Louis Punch. That's fire. But they keep these stories away from you for a reason. But let's finish up the video.
Unfortunately, Fuller filed for bankruptcy in 1969 after the boycotts and the lawsuits caught up to him. However, so much can be learned from his legacy. At his peak, he owned 13 corporations, including factories, newspapers, farms, department stores, and much, much more.
Like, dog. Outstanding member, yo. Outstanding member of the race. Treated like a fucking dog because he didn't fucking repeat those same ass fucking talking points, that he wasn't pushing for integration. So we can go back. We can go back now. We can go back to oh shit, I didn't even. Oh wow, it is Thursday. Damn. Yo, shout out to y'all, man. I totally forgot about Hotep's Been Told You. I forgot it was Thursday, to be totally honest. These days be just bleeding together. Shout out to my man HJ and Uncle Hotep out there. I know I probably shouted them out already anyway, but yeah. So when it came down to my page, right, and we was talking about Samuel B. Fuller and what Jeff Charles was saying, right? My man Jeff No, wrong one. This one. No, what was it? What was it? What was it? It was this one. It was this one. Yeah, there we go. So, back to what Jeff was saying. I'm convinced black capitalism would have benefited black people far more than government mandated integration. In fact, this would have brought about a better and more authentic integration than what the state produced. This is absolutely true. This is absolutely true. And this has been true even before Samuel B. Fuller's day, because this is what Booker T. Washington was talking about, obviously. You have to understand that capitalism is based upon supply and demand. When you are in high demand, a lot of people's prejudices go out the window. One of the main examples of this shit is sports. When you be seeing all of these fans of Alabama and Texas and all of these colleges and shit like that, you don't think there's some racist white people in the stands? You don't think that there's some coaches that may be racist? You don't think that there be some GMs and all of the different parts or whatever that have prejudices against black people? But because this big black motherfucker can throw the ball like a cannon and can run up and down that field, you feel me? They gonna curb that prejudice because supply and demand. Niggas got the supply, crackers got the demand. Booker T. Washington was saying this shit all of the time. Booker T. Washington's whole philosophy was like, yo, son, a lot of that racism or the prejudice or the bigotry will go away if they need you. As a matter of fact, I have a direct quote, not from Booker T. Washington, but from somebody who built an entire black town. An entire black town. And I got to search for it on my phone, so y'all give me a second. But I'm trying to tell y'all, yo, this is... Man, y'all don't understand how deep this shit go. This shit goes super deep. And absolutely, man, I don't gatekeep the sources. I don't gatekeep the sources at all. Do 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 do. What else was it? No, not this. No. Oh man, where is it? I'm trying to find it. There was a video of these town leaders. Oh, let's see. Is it this? No. Damn. Oh man. There was a video of a town editor, which is just another name for the people who create towns. And he was basically saying, he's basically saying what I've been saying. And damn it, man. He smoked that quote. And I smoked it. No. Damn, y'all. That would have been perfect, dog. See, this is what I be saying. I be having all of this information. Oh, man. What the hell was the keyword that I used? Oh, man. It was in my Black Towns video, man. And that shit was so poignant. But basically, in a nutshell, I'm not going to keep doing this. Basically, in a nutshell, dude was saying, yo, the white man will call you Mr. Alright when he needs something. You know what I'm saying? That's what he basically was talking about. Like, all of that shit go out the window when that motherfucker needs you, son. I know they told you the whole emotional shit is like, oh, they're jealous of black people, so they're going to do this. Don't get me wrong. That's true, too. I told y'all where the stereotype of watermelon comes from. You know what I'm saying? There's definitely poor, jealous, rich, jealous. It don't matter. There's envious people, white people, whatever, racist white people that used their prejudice and their racism against black people just because of how they felt about black American ingenuity, progress, achievement, etc., etc. So, you know how that goes. But damn, son. Was it integration? No, it wasn't that. No. Yes, found it. Oh man, I thought I wasn't gonna find it, y'all, but I found it. You just gotta go to my DMs real quick. I DM'd it to myself. Come on. I want y'all to see this clip. This shit was so fire. Come on. There we go. Let's watch this.
During times of celebration, to trade, vacation, and to shop.
Hold on.
Whites were welcome in black towns during times of celebration, to trade, vacation, and to shop, but they were highly discouraged from living there, buying property, or looking for work. In the minds of many town leaders, this was how the two races should handle their relationship with one another. One town leader was quoted as saying, "In Boli, the white people we deal with treat us as equals because we don't deal with them on personal terms unless they need us for something. You see, if we needed them, we would have to stand any treatment, like being called boy or Sam or by our first names. A white man will call you Mr. Alright if he needs you." Whites were welcome in black towns
play that
during
one more
times of
time.
celebration, to trade, vacation, and to shop, but they were highly discouraged from living there, buying property, or looking for work. In the minds of many town leaders, this was how the two races should handle their relationship with one another. One town leader was quoted as saying, "In Boli, the white people we deal with treat us as equals because we don't deal with them on personal terms unless they need us for something. You see, if we needed them, we would have to stand any treatment, like being called boy or Sam or by our first names. A white man will call you Mr. Alright if he needs you." Whites were welcome.
Yo, man, that shit made me smile, man. When I first heard that video, man, well, first, why did I say it like that? When I first read that quote, this is my video. When I first read that quote, I was like, yo, I love one of the, like, did y'all ever have that feeling when it's like you always believe something, but there's like a lot of people that be trying to shit on it or try to make you seem like you're crazy for believing that shit, and then somebody randomly comes out of nowhere and says the same exact shit and then confirms all of the shit that you've been saying? Like that was this for me. Now, I'm not saying that this was absolute, but this is definitely true for Bowley, Oklahoma, which is an all-black town. And he said the white people treat us as equals because we don't talk to them on personal shit. I don't want to get a job at your factory. I don't want to date your daughter. I don't want to date your son. I don't want to go to school with your kids, or I don't want any of that. However, you're good at what you do. I'm good at what I do. Let's work out a deal. Period. The white man will call you Mr. Alright when he needs you. And that's what Booker T. Washington was saying. Now you fast forward and you got some random black liberal kid telling Hillary Clinton that we want to change white hearts. Like, it's insane, son. We've fallen so far off the reservation. So we've gotten so off the rails. It's insane. Like, I'm not going to hold y'all, yo. I'm like, these are just black-faced white people, son. Sorry to say. These are true black Americans right here. Self-sufficient, based in community, based in group economics. I'm trying to tell y'all something, yo. We need to get back to our roots. We have to. We have gone too far off the motherfucking plantation, son. Too far. Too far off the plantation. I'm going to play this video one more time because I love this video that much.
Welcome in black towns during times of celebration, to trade, vacation.
Yo, they was welcome. Come through. Come stay at the hotel. Come to the fair. Come celebrate with us. So you niggas be talking about inviting motherfuckers to the cookout. That was the easy part. Because you get to go home after the cookout. Y'all be wanting to stay. Y'all be wanting them to spend the night. Y'all be wanting them to come in your crib. Y'all be wanting them to come into your schools and all that other shit. Coming to the cookout wasn't the issue. Come party with us. Fine. Get your two-step on. Get you some good barbecue in you, nigga. Get you some good barbecue in you. We'll party with you, but you got to go the fuck home after this. It's lit over in the black side of town. We know. Good night. Have a good night. We don't want none of that.
And to shop, but they were highly discouraged from living there, buying property, or looking for work.
Yeah. No. Sorry. We have bigger fish to fry than try to employ a white person. Sorry, this is no disrespect to you, Jethro, but Leroy needs a job. And we're not going to give you the job that Leroy needs to take care of his black ass family. Nigga got 9 kids and he got 3 on the way for some reason. 1 wife, but 3 kids on the way. Got triplets coming. You feel me? No, you can't really buy property. You can invest in our companies, though. If you want to throw in some money, you get a return on your investment. But no, you cannot live here. You cannot buy a crib here, bro. For what? No. The answer is no.
In the minds of many town leaders, this was how the two races should handle their relationship with one another. One town leader was quoted as saying, "In Boli, the white people we deal with treat us as equals because we don't deal with them on personal terms unless they need us for something."
Unless they need us for something. We do not deal with these white people on personal terms unless they need us. We do not go on their side of town asking for anything from them. Nothing personal. It's all business. And what do you think happens as a result of this type of relationship? Do you think this makes it easier for race relations or harder? I obviously believe this makes it easier. Because I can trust him because he does good work. He's not trying to encroach on my community. I'm not trying to encroach on him, but he does good work. And on the other side, and I'm not even being specific about the race because it can work either way. Economics. This is how this works. White or black. No, I don't want to, be invited over to his house or be chum friends with him. But God damn it, if he makes a mean bookshelf. He's a great carpenter, great blacksmith, great farmer, great this. I can learn from him. I can actually send my son over there to learn from him. White or black. These relationships built upon economic reasons, commercial reasons, professional reasons would have been much easier to maintain than trying to force these people to like each other, like putting 2 siblings in the same t-shirt, the get along t-shirt. That's what the government tried to do to us. Put us all in one big ass t-shirt and be like, y'all better get along. Which they knew would just make us more tumultuous with each other. You forcing me to be with a motherfucker that I don't understand and I don't like, as opposed to me choosing to deal with this one black man with the hat on because he knows how to build bookshelves, because he knows how to build bedposts, he knows how to build different things. I want to do business with that one black man, and that one black man will get my one white man's money, and he will use that money to enrich his community. So what happens? Me and him get closer and closer because we're doing business with each other. And then before you know it, motherfuckers is having dinner with each other. Along these economic, professional, and commercial lines, we would have built better race relations. But when you have your government telling you that you motherfuckers need to live together right now or else, of course you're going to create more resentment between the two races. And they knew that, and that's exactly why they pushed it. So now, 100 years later, Contemporary black Americans can sit here and tell me all about white supremacy. And the contemporary white Americans who ain't never interfaced with black people ever get to tell me about all of the ruffians, the black violence, and 1350 and all that other shit. They get to run with these narratives because y'all don't know each other, because y'all stop doing business with each other in the proper manner. They derailed our progress for whatever their agenda was, which was to keep each other keep us at each other's throats. And I know that shit seems like bullshit to a lot of contemporary black Americans, but that's what happened, son. That's exactly what happened. The black people in Boley, Oklahoma was not worried about living anywhere near white people. They didn't care. And Boley was one of dozens of black towns in Oklahoma itself. That's just Oklahoma. We're not even talking about California, Texas, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi. Like, we're not talking about the whole entire Southeast and Southwest and shit. Even when you go up north, you got Seneca Village. There was another one, Weeksville in Brooklyn. Like, you got the 7th Ward in Philadelphia. Like, y'all gotta understand, bro. Like, these things were practical, son. If it was really that tumultuous, my nigga, we all would have been dead. If it was really that tumultuous, we all would be dead right now. I know y'all think a lot of people think this generation is the most progressive generation and all that other shit, but you're not. Actually, you've been forced this shit. So, in closing, Hotep's been told you. That's one. And number two, man, stop getting tricked out your spot because you being emotional. Stop thinking that the boogeyman of white supremacy is out to get you, and understand that the boogeyman is all in your head. The boogeyman is your own self-doubt. The boogeyman is you and your paralyzed fear of the unknown or things you actually could know. Understand that your ancestors went through worse and did better. Understand that your ancestors had less and did more. Understand. So I appreciate y'all coming out tonight. Let's give some shout outs in the chat. Make sure that y'all, understand that we will be back tomorrow. We will be back tomorrow. So shout out to Clifton coming through. He's 2 for 2. Shout out to my man John Glasgow. Old boy Gonzo. Didn't see him before, but shout out to you for coming through, bro. Who else we got? Hold on. Because it's hard for me to scroll. What else we got? We got Sammy again coming through, good looking. Vincent, thank you, man, again coming through 2 nights in a row. Scruggs, my boy. OG, thank you so much. CNJT, thank you for coming in. Make sure that you do send that to me. My DMs are open. You dig what I'm saying? Make sure you send me that boarding school plan. Who else we got? Memphis, thank you. Thank you for coming through again. Who else? Kwame Barning, thank you, Kwame, for coming through. Who else? That's about it. Not a lot too many people came through to comment, but I appreciate you guys, man. Salute. And as always, man, Hotep and build. Retweet this so people can watch this later. You dig? Y'all have a good night.